What is up, Culture Junkies? Welcome back to another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro. I want to thank all of you for watching us today because we definitely would not be here without you all. So today, episode 210 in the road. Man, it's 210 episodes that we've been doing. So today we're going to be talking about just what is Black AF. You know, Great Adakuji kind of brought up this topic like last week, and we thought it would be a really good one to bring to you all. So buckle up. It's going to be a really, really, really good time, entertaining and very thoughtful conversation. To my right is Mr. GQ. In front of me is the Great Adakuji, and from remote is Miss Miaoyan. How is everybody doing today?
Great. At least I think I'm great. How you great? You great? You great? You great? Everybody's great. Great. Great.
Yeah. Miaoyan, we can't hear you. Did you say anything?
I am fantastic.
Oh, there you go. That's better. No hello, happy people? Hello,
I mean, I
happy
said
people?
that in the chat, but hello, all you happy people. I have returned.
Congratulations, by the way, on your incredible milestone.
Yes, I am Well, I will be graduating the end of this week from Florida State University. Go Noles.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Wait a minute. So don't you have to like walk across the stage and get your cap and gown and all that?
I could, but that is extremely hazardous to my health right now.
Man, whatever. Go up there with a flamethrower and just shoot people that get close to you.
And that's when I end up in jail.
Not necessarily. You have a military background.
I mean, I'm just getting my degree. I don't want to end up in jail that quickly. You know, give me a couple years.
Isn't it a communications degree?
It is.
So you're communicating in your own unique way.
I mean, I don't think that's how it works.
You never know. Never know till you try.
Ooh.
Well, all that aside, congratulations to you, Miaoyan. But let's hit the ground running. We got to run the gamut. Let's get to some of the hot topics that are going on in the world today.
Run the gamut.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
So one thing that I know that happened today, and this is kind of stemming out of a discussion actually we had like a few weeks ago. Remember how we were saying that with the coronavirus and people kind of shifting or movie companies shifting their movies online? Well, Trolls World Tour pulled in $100 million in pure profit for Universal. And in response, they have said they are now going to adapt a policy where they are simultaneously going to release movies on video on demand while also putting them in the theaters. AMC and Regal Cinemas didn't like that, and now they're going to boycott the Universal Pictures movies and not even show them in their cinemas at all. What's your thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
Well,
it's
going to go that day. It's going to go.
Isn't AMC going under anyway, though?
Like, the speculation is that they might be going under, that they're going bankrupt, but I don't totally believe that they'll be gone. But still, this is an interesting development born out of what I kind of thought would end up happening at some point. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying, Dido? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying it's bound to happen. I mean, regardless of what people want, it's going to get to a point where these studios get all the profits because that's what they want. Because right now they have to split stuff with movie theaters. Movie theaters have to make their money, even though they don't make a whole bunch of money off of movies. They make a lot of it off their concession, and they say the first few weekends they don't make any money off the movie. But as the time happens, just like almost any business, of course, they want to get all the money, and this is a way for them to get all the money. It's not here yet. It's not going to be there yet. But before, I don't want to say it like that. If I were to live to be a old ass man, before I kick the bucket, it's going to be like that. Movie theaters are going to become more a niche thing where people go to movies like how dollar theaters used to be, where you go to watch older movies. It's not going to be movies like the first release or anything like that. That's what I feel like it's going to go to.
I think with the echo coming in from somebody's phone, I think that this is a kid's movie that came out during a pandemic where a bunch of kids are at home and parents are looking for entertainment, and this is why they bought that stupid movie.
Now, to your point, right? I absolutely don't think that they could possibly pull this off with Fast 10, right?
That's Fast 9.
Yeah, I'm Fast 9. Okay.
Yeah.
With Fast 9, I don't think they could possibly pull this off. There's no way. But Trolls, special condition.
It
I get
works for movies that do not benefit from the theatrical presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers will never be released like this.
Mm-hmm.
Superman, Batman, all those types of big screen blockbusters will not be brought out at home the same time they are brought to the theater, because what's the point of spending all that money just to sit there and be like, oh, okay, yeah, we filmed this with all of these great cameras and all of this in post-processing and all of this effects work to show it on a 50 to 60-inch screen. Yeah, I don't think so. It works for comedy. It works for cartoons and animation. It does not work for real movies. So that's just my take on that.
For now.
Oh, no, I would never have watched Endgame at home before I watched it at the
No,
theater.
I'm talking about now, but you're also an old head. When I say old head, I don't mean it's like we
No,
are
I
both
know,
not old heads.
I understand that. But,
Climates always change, things change,
but
man.
young people die quick.
That might be true, but a long, long time ago, they didn't think that the automobile was going to be. It was like, my horse and buggy has got to be the thing that everything, nothing's going to beat that.
Well,
Yeah.
first of all,
And that's
horses smell.
And that may be true. That's not what I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of all the people who were their whole entire life to use a horse and buggy, and then somebody comes along with an automobile. I was like, that's just a fad. It's not going to take off.
No. Here's the thing. I don't mind when something is replaced by something better. TV is not better than a 100-foot screen.
I agree with you because those big ass screens, but a lot of people like being at their house. A lot
Oh,
of
and
people
again,
don't like having to go out to the
I
thing.
think the convenience will
And that
outweigh
too.
for a lot of people.
I know people are lazy, and I know people would rather sit at home. That's them. I don't care
But
about
this
that.
is Universal, so Universal is going to decide to do this. And I mean, I'm thinking of like my friends with big families. So, or they can't get a babysitter or something like that. They're going to stay
Excuses.
home and watch that movie, either have a date night or whatever, or, they're going to have a party for their kids and pay that $20 instead of going to the theater and paying like $100.
I hope
You know what
I hope it starts a rash of house fires for everybody that does it. Every single person.
That's just
all of them. Just
real.
just
Is this what we're
hope
doing today?
hope the TV explodes and causes a fire.
I don't
Here's
know
the thing.
though.
Let's be real. What does Universal have that actually is worth watching at home like that? Because Fast is kind of their main thing.
I mean, Fast is one of them.
'Cause they surely don't have a dark universe for their monster movies no more. That went away real quick.
Don't they still have Spider-Man?
No, that would be Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
Apple buys them and then Disney gets them back.
Well, not to get stuck on this, what do you got?
Man, nothing. You know why? Because I was spending a lot of time researching this main topic. But if you really, really want something from me, I spent at least 2 hours last night trying to figure out the right measurement of Clorox bleach and Lysol disinfectant to inject in my veins to see if I could make myself completely 100% immune to this
Coronavirus.
Yes, because
You're not one of them. There's no way, man. You wouldn't fall for that.
No, I mean, no. Actually, I did spend a little bit of time building up an immunity to iocane powder, but that's another story.
All right. What about you, Dido? What do you got?
Well, the how do you say this? The best brawler / beat 'em up series that has existed in the video gamedom. The sequel, 26 years later, is coming out tomorrow. It's out in some places in the world today, from my understanding. It is called Streets of Rage 4. And my goodness, that game looks really, really good. I was watching a video basically detailing on how things are made, how things are done and whatnot. And all the reviews are freaking on the scale of being excellent. And I look forward to it. My only issue is that I want a physical copy, and I pre-ordered a physical copy, and it's not coming out tomorrow. And if I wanted to play it tomorrow, that means I have to buy the game twice. I'm not doing that.
Wait. Your physical copy's not getting delivered on time?
No, it's not just mine. It's like they didn't even set it up for it to be delivered when the game dropped.
This is Streets Rage 4, right?
Yeah,
Wait,
Streets of Rage
why?
4. Because it's through limited run.
Oh yeah, limited run is interesting.
And
Sometimes.
their whole thing is they don't do a physical copy until, supposedly, from my understanding, all the
DLC,
patches and
yeah.
DLC is done and
So
out.
in other words, you ain't getting a day 1, you're getting a day 366.
I don't even know when the heck I'm supposed to be getting it. And my main issue is I want to play that game. So part of me feels like I should buy it, but it's like
Well, how much is it? How much is it not physical?
that I don't know. I'm assuming it's about $20, $30, $40, something like that.
That's
It's in that range.
This is where the physical and digital thing always pisses me off. When companies have physical releases, that's great. But when those digital copies are full price constantly for almost the entire run of a game's existence, that's disgusting to me.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of paying a lot of money for digital stuff. I understand why it is, because to the publishers or producers or developers or whatever, it's the exact same game. So for one you can feel in your hand, they both had the same amount of work put into it. So I get it. It just doesn't really make me happy at all that I won't be able to play unless I buy 2 copies, which, it is. What's the point of having a physical copy when you got a digital copy for the Nintendo Switch? That is, because I was always having a hard time with the Nintendo Switch buying physical copies for anything, because seriously, I don't want to carry around all that stuff, because the whole point is you can grab it and go and have all your stuff on there. And I like the idea of having a physical copy. I mean, even though we fear that they'll pull stuff off the markets, which we have seen them do before, it doesn't happen that often. From my understanding, it usually only happens with licensed games, not too much of anything that's original, I guess you could say. So, it's $24.99 according to the Nintendo website, and I'm assuming it's $24.99 on all the other systems, Xbox One and PlayStation 4, which only PlayStation 4 and Switch are getting physical copies. But and I think the physical copy, the one I got, was because I got not the Super Collector's Edition, which is $150. It's like the original Collector's Edition where you get the Genesis case and the game and some other stuff. I look forward to that one.
That's fair.
Yeah,
like I said, I even said it on the Facebook. That Collector's Edition isn't $150 worth for me, just based on the size of that statue.
And it's 7 inches.
Yeah,
Too small?
7 inches is way too small. It is. That thing needs to at least be like 12 inches.
Let's just say that's what she said. Right?
I mean, that's pretty much what they all say. But that thing should at least be 12-inch statue for $150.
Well, you do get a lot of other stuff. You get a metal cartridge. You get the soundtrack. You get an art book. You get the Genesis case.
Okay, let me stop you right there. $100 collector's. Matter of fact, how much was that Sonic one that you got with the Sonic statue?
I think that was $100.
That thing came with a cartridge. It came with a ring. I don't remember if it came with an art book or not, but art books are cheap. Yeah. And replicating the Genesis cartridge is also cheap because it's plastic. So wearing that little small 7-inch statue is not worth $50.
Well, it's not just that. I get what you're saying, but it's not just that. Because you actually are getting more stuff than than Sonic Mania.
I don't know. I understand that, but to me, once you hit the over $100 mark for a collector's edition, it better have a substantial statue or an insane amount of other stuff. Because okay, for example, one that was a major ripoff was the Mortal Kombat 11 collector's edition, $300. And it came with a full-size statue bust, sort of kind of plasticky thing of Scorpion's head, and a metal Mortal Kombat card, and the game with a steelbook.
Well, I don't see it on their site because I wanted to tell you exactly. I would have to find it on.
Oh no, I remember what it was in it. I mean, it was the soundtrack and the metal cartridge, like you said, and the actual physical game with the Genesis replica casing. And a big box to hold it all, and a little statue.
And a little statue.
Little trees. Happy little trees.
Yayan, you got anything?
So, as we all know, next week is May 4th. So, we also know that they are releasing Star Wars early on Disney Plus for that occasion. But Disney has taken it even further on Twitter and saying if you use May the 4th, as in May the 4th be with you, that they can use your hashtag and your tweet in any of their stuff. And you are agreeing to it by using their hashtag.
Of course.
I was like, look at that.
How's that their hashtags? They didn't make that up. Some fan made that up.
It doesn't matter. They own the concept of the word the Force.
Yeah, May the 4th or all that kind of stuff. Because they own the brand and all that kind. I'm like, what do you guys think? Is this like? I think it's kind of a how can I say? I think it's kind of crappy that they're doing that, but without people's like consent. But I guess if you use the hashtag, then you're
Here's the thing.
consenting, right?
Here's
How
the
do we
thing.
feel about companies doing this kind of stuff?
Companies have been doing that forever. And here's the other thing on that. I bet if you read the entire Twitter user agreement, you probably gave up that right already anyway. So it's on Twitter's platform, and Disney is a company that owns all of Star Wars in concept. So I'm sure there's some lawyers out there that work that out, and they can do that.
Well, they threw it out there on their Twitter, so I thought it was interesting. I won't be using it.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm not on Twitter. I'm pretty sure on Monday I'm not going to be on Twitter anyway.
Why not? You gonna bounce off? Is there a reason why you're not gonna be on Twitter? You leaving it? Finally got done with the toxic.
No, I mean I'm not on Twitter every day, so I feel like Monday I'll be too busy watching Star Wars stuff and preparing for Cinco de Mayo that I'm like,
she ready to
I won't
get
have
blew
time.
out. She ready to get lit.
John P. over there.
Celebration. Next week is a celebration.
Sure,
So.
absolutely.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
John P. over there in the chat saying no copy during release day. That would make me rage enough.
Yeah,
rage to get
absolutely.
to the streets.
See, and parts, going back to the Streets of Rage conversation. This is why I'm buying it on Steam. I don't have to worry about any of the other problems.
See,
I'm buying it on Steam.
That's always been my dilemma now because for certain things, I'm willing to go physical. The Switch is one of them that I don't technically need physical copies. I can go digital for whatever reason. PlayStation, Xbox, all the other stuff for whatever reason. I feel like I need it. PC is...
Well, PC, you've been trained for PC for a decade.
Yeah, to be digital only. But my issue with that is like, I know it's more powerful than all the systems. They work with all the controllers now, so it's not even an issue. But it's just something in my brain that's holding me back. Because, like, if you think about it, you don't need an Xbox because if you got PC, Steam, you got that. PlayStation got their own exclusive stuff. And if you had a PlayStation 4, 5, whatever, you need it only for the exclusive stuff. Same thing with the Nintendo Switch. But like nowadays, the Nintendo Switch is kind of taking a place of a lot of stuff that's Steam. Because if it's not a freaking high-end game, the Switch can do it great. And even some high-end games like Doom is on there. When they put Doom on there, and like I saw a breakdown of it. Of course, it's not run at 60 frames, but it's running fabulous on the freaking Switch, being slightly toned down.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11's on the Switch. It's not, as pretty as the other one, but it plays 60 frames a second. And unless you're a stickler for like extreme detail, it plays exactly the same. I hear Doom Eternal's even coming out on the Switch. So like literally the Switch can be that thing. And that remember the Alienware Switch that they were showing the concept? That would kind of kill like the Switch, because if it's a PC, which it supposedly is, you can run emulators on it. I mean, you can get all Nintendo, Sega, all the other old stuff,
right?
And then all the powerful, supposedly, Steam games, whatnot, or PC games. So I don't know. It is a mental block. It really is.
Well, before we move on and go with the rest of the show, I think what it is, and the reason that you're having those odd, callbacks and flashbacks is graphics pads.
Oh yeah,
graphics pads is probably what keeping you from hating PC. Not hating, but strong bad feeling about PC controls.
Strong bad feelings. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I think that's enough on Run the Gamut. We spend quite a bit of time on that. Let's move on to the next topic, which is in For the Culture. For the Culture. All right, so Super Nerd Plus, who was actually supposed to join us today, and we'll definitely be talking about him later. But he posted something on our Instagram late last week, and it was a picture of Method Man cosplaying as Bishop. Now, this thing went viral fast. I mean, we're talking super fast. I think what struck people was that it looked so good. Like it looked like meth was going to be a natural fit for Bishop. So, but of course, meth wanted to take it down really really fast, and that also brings up a few other questions why he may have wanted to rush to bring it down. So, what did you think of the pictures, and also why do you think meth was in such a panic to get it pulled down?
It could be any number of things. It could be simply, maybe he actually is, looking at it as, okay, I've got this out there, and if somebody, wrong person catches wind of it, this might hurt my chances to potentially portray that character in the future. So maybe it's just like, you know what? I don't even want to mess around with the possibility of missing out, so I'm going to just go ahead and take it down. Now, I don't know. I mean, then again, he's already in the entertainment industry, so maybe there's a whole different side to it. If I was somebody campaigning for a particular thing, I would be like, hey, if people dig what I did, I'd ride ride high on that popularity and that like you said, viral status of the post. But who knows? Maybe he got word from one of his lawyers, or maybe he got word from one of the companies like, hey, we would potentially like to work with you, but you can't be throwing this out there right now, because we've got other concepts or other plans or other whatever. So who knows?
So you kind of think that maybe he might possibly be in the running?
Who
you
knows? It's you never know, because again, everything is always in motion. Like if you look back at just how fast, especially the Marvel stuff moves. Captain Marvel's first day in the Captain Marvel suit they just posted recently was on Avengers Endgame. She didn't even do her own movie before she was acting in Endgame.
That's
so
wild.
It's like okay.
Right.
So that stuff moves quick, man. So I mean, who knows? Maybe he, like I said, somebody was in his ear like, hey, we actually are considering you for this, but you got to stop this. And that would get somebody to take something like that down with the quickness, because it's like, okay, now I'm messing with my own future money. So that would make me take it.
Any other opinions, Miayan? You got an opinion?
Well, I feel like they probably, maybe he is already because a lot of stars do it. They don't mean to, but they don't know like the secret squirrel world that is the House of Mouse, and maybe he already has the role, hasn't been announced, and he was just playing around with something and kind of let it out the bag that kind of way.
And he got that slap on the wrist from
So,
Nikki.
I feel like that's what happened, because people were super hype about it, and including me, and it's just always one of those things when somebody takes something down. And Method Man has a lot of, like, I follow him on social media, so when he took it down on Instagram, I was just like, oh no. But then I thought about it, and like,
right. Like, why are you taking this down? This is dope.
Right. So I'm just like, oh no, but yes, also, because he also had a new song just come out, and I was like, is that gone too? But it's not. So I'm spinning my conspiracy theory wheels to say he's working on something with them, and this kind of like jumped the gun.
It's possible. Amayu1 over on YouTube is saying she wonders, is that why he started getting super fit? Or is he already kind of on that journey? So is he pulling the LL Cool J and just, eating in the gym and making everybody else
But
look
LL
bad?
was always that way, man. You can't say that about it. LL was always that way.
LL was always fit.
He was always that way.
Before Cool James became LL Cool J, he was not that cut.
No, okay.
He came in.
He wasn't that cut.
I put Method Man in the same category as LL Cool J as far as when he started acting more, then that's when he started being in the gym more.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like 94, 95 LL Cool J. That dude looked like he was always hitting the weights.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, even Busta Rhymes had his point where he came, was hitting the gym. And then
Busta
what was
Rhymes.
this? What was this? I don't remember that.
Busta Rhymes, he came out kind of buff a little bit for a little short period of time. Then he got bloated.
The man has always been I don't know about
Right.
buff.
Right. Whatever. Some say he went from being a little bit skinny to a little bit big.
Yeah.
Some of it was
like
muscle. Some of it.
Okay.
Not
sure.
all of it.
Not all of it. Right. Absolutely. Dado, you got any thoughts on the whole Method Man deal?
I like to see him as a freaking Bishop, but he gonna have to sport that Jerry curl.
You want the Jerry Curl Bishop?
Hell yeah.
You don't want the dreads Bishop?
I want the blue Jerry
We
curl
already
Bishop.
had the Dredge Bishop.
Yeah, we did.
Well, that's true. You're right. We
Give me
did have
that
the
Jerry
dreads
curl.
Bishop. You're
Give
right.
me that Jerry curl.
Jerry
Bring it
Curl,
back.
Jerry Curl.
That blue,
You know what?
that blue Jerry
I was just
curl.
about to say that.
I am
Eric
seeing-
LaSalle. Eric LaSalle
No.
would have been a pretty damn
No.
good Bishop.
Eric LaSalle.
Soul Glow.
No.
Soul
Eric-
Glow. Yes.
Eric
yes.
LaSalle. Eric
No, yes.
LaSalle. No. He already cut his Jerry curl off.
Hey man, he can throw on that wig. Come on, man.
Nah.
Hey,
Absolutely not.
hey. You know,
No,
speaking of that, right? I know this.
no.
I know this is an aside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we know Coming to America 2 is coming out.
Yes, it is.
Dude.
No,
Where-
maybe it won't. Who knows? Maybe
No,
it
I
got
think
canceled.
Eddie's gonna do it. No, for real. I think Eddie's gonna do it. But
Mhm.
what do we think? What do we think is going to be the legacy of the Soul Glow franchise?
I like to see that.
They
Coming to
yeah,
America
they
2.
need to because
Yes,
the thing is
yes.
the Jerry curl. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to think. When's the last time I ever seen somebody that had a Jerry curl?
Man,
Like for real.
I
like,
can't.
in
I
person.
can't even.
Like, because you know, Sam Jackson was supposed to wear an afro in Pulp Fiction, and they got him that Jerry curl wig instead.
I'm glad.
Who?
Sam
Perfect.
Jackson. Sam Jackson.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. You probably never saw Pulp Fiction.
I've seen Pulp Fiction, man. I just didn't hear the movie that you mentioned. I was like, what?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now that you've finally seen, you know,
Fifth
The Fifth
Element. You know,
Element.
after.
Oh
you know,
my
6,000
God. Okay.
years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Enough.
I mean, I literally had to like make
you had to
watch.
fly. Yeah, you had to fly to Michigan to get
And
him
you
to
know
watch
what? And I was so happy to have her here when I was watching it too. I was so
I'm
happy.
gonna get you a shirt. I finally watched Fifth Element after like all this time.
20
Okay.
years later.
All right.
Right.
John P. a Royale with cheese. Yeah.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
No, I just ate
Anyway.
it, man. I'm still hungry. I could go
Yeah,
for
but
a
no,
Royale cheese.
no, that would be funny. But Jerry Curl Bishop, I mean, I guess it'd be cool.
I'm of the mind that would not be cool, but you know.
okay, but what
whatever.
do we?
No.
Okay, but do we think Meth as an actor could do Bishop, or is
Well,
it just his
I
look?
haven't seen his range at all. I mean, I think he's been in other stuff that I may not have seen because I've seen him in the movies that he's been in, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't a stretch from like How High.
Right,
I know we all watched that.
Yeah.
right.
I enjoyed that movie. I don't care what people say. And
I like How High. He was in Law and Order SVU. He
I
was
never watched
in
that. I don't watch TV
The
shows like
Deuce.
that.
No, when he was in Law and Order, it was actually he was really good.
I think he was in
That was
Daredevil,
scary.
wasn't he? Wasn't he in?
No, that was Coolio.
Okay, yeah. I'm
You know.
sorry.
Damn,
That's
look
such a
at you,
long
just
time ago.
all black people look alike, huh?
Was
Yeah.
it was that refresh my memory, Ryan? When that episode of SVU wasn't that he was going against Finn? He was like a hardened. I think he was
He was
either
like
a pusher
he
or
was
something.
like a drug guy.
Yeah, he was either a pusher or something. But dude, he was scary.
It was scary
He
because
was scary, dude.
I watched, mind you guys, I've watched this episode recently. So
Right.
he was in the courtroom and he's just like, ah! I'm like, whoa.
I think what it is, and then again, it's not so much playing a type or anything like that. I think what you get with a lot of, not a lot, but certain musicians, I think, and I almost want to put rappers in this category. Certain rappers, if they are given the opportunity to show their dynamic range, actually will surprise a lot of people. Because who would have thought Ice-T on that show for
No
that
one.
long?
Absolutely no one.
It was like, dude, he's
No one.
good. Like
Yeah.
his character, he plays his character very well. So
Mm-hmm.
I think when
Very
you,
well.
the same thing with like certain comedians. Jim Carrey, if allowed to not just
Mm-hmm.
be silly, is a good dramatic actor. So it's like the range is there. It's just some people got to get past the standard. Oh, he's just a rapper. No, he's an
You have to
artist.
give them a good script. You got to give them something that challenges them
Right.
too, because that's also what happens. Like people, and I will bring up Halle Berry as an example. She is a very good actress. She
Mhm.
has been given a lot of bad scripts, so you can't really like form
Mhm.
a bad script into a great movie.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. You're going to get something bad,
Uh,
or
right.
marginal at least.
Right. Well, before we move on, I want to pass, a message to you, Miss Rieta says hi.
Hello, ma'am.
She called you by name, by the way, so it must be someone you know. I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with the username. Fallen Marvels in the chat says Will Smith is still the best rapper / actor. Is he though? Is he, though?
Depends on how you define actor. Because Will Smith playing Will Smith.
Right.
is not necessarily acting.
No.
Was he
At all.
Will Smith when he was Muhammad Ali?
No, his
No.
some of it was.
Right.
Now again, there's nothing wrong with that though, because Ali is that type of personality where he's very just not. I wouldn't even want to say arrogant, but he had the showman of aspect to his thing, and his confidence came from his trash talk.
Now, here's another one. Gerald Boney. We're getting a lot of messages on YouTube, by the way. This
Awesome.
is great. Gerald Boney is like, Mos Def is the best rapper / actor. Now, I've heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he,
Now,
he-
that,
he
I've
was
heard
really
that.
good
Yeah.
because what was that movie with him and Jack Black? That movie was crazy, but besides that, seeing
Most
him in
Def.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Well,
really?
I liked him in Italian Job.
DBL.
Oh yeah.
DBL King
I forgot he was
says
an Italian job.
DBL King says Jamie got Will beat. Now, technically, Jamie Foxx
Fox.
ain't a rapper, but
Well, he's a
musician. So
but he was an
comedian
actor
first,
first.
and
He was a
actor.
comedian first, actor then.
Right.
But again, it all falls under being an artist.
Right.
He's a very talented artist.
Jamie is an entertainer.
Yeah,
So
right.
right.
he's kind of one of those people who goes across because he's not an EGOT. Is he? No.
Who?
What?
He's
What?
trying to be.
Who? Jamie Foxx?
Jamie Foxx.
I don't think does he have a Tony? I don't think he has a Tony. Does he have a Grammy?
No, I think he does have a. I think he does have.
I
a
think
song.
he is.
I
Maybe
think
he
he does
is.
have a
He's
song.
not EGOT.
don't
though,
know.
I'll tell
No,
you that.
he doesn't have EGOT though. I know he's got the Oscar. I know he's got the Tony. But
I know he
does he
wants
have
to
the
be
Emmy?
one, but
I
I
don't
know
know.
he has.
But what would he have won the Emmy for? Well, not for the Jamie Foxx show,
Maybe.
No, he don't have an.
right?
He
I
got
I don't think he has the Emmy. I think he's got the Grammy, he's got the Oscar, and he's got the Tony, but he doesn't have the E.
Oh, so he just got got.
But
Right?
I
he
know
just
that-
got. I love that. That's a good one.
All right. Fair enough.
He
But
just
I
got
mean,
got.
I know he was close, and he was one of those
Yeah.
folks who. Shout out to Amayu because she's on it. She says no Emmy, so
but
Right.
here's the thing. Okay. On the Will Smith thing. Will is a
Almost
talented actor. I'm not going to, all jokes aside, he has not been in Hollywood as long as he's been if he didn't have some form of talent when it came to
Oh, absolutely.
the box office draw and some acting. Now, where Will could complete the entire circle and make the circle complete, as Darth Vader would say, is if he would play a real villain, not Deadshot, because Deadshot wasn't a villain the way they did it.
No.
A true, dirty, just you hate this guy villain. If he does that and does it well, then he'll, in my opinion, will be like, okay, now you have, the circle is complete. You've done it all. But
I don't think he's gonna do it though.
I know, and it's sad. It hurts the feelings. De Niro did it. Pacino did it. Jamie Foxx. I don't know if Jamie Foxx has done it either.
Nope.
He needs to. Hey, but again, he has an Oscar, but I mean, I would still like to see him do it because it'd be awesome.
John P says Will Smith played Satan. Search YouTube. Okay.
Then what?
I might have to try and find that one. That one I might have to try and find.
When?
I don't know. He wasn't specific.
And it depends on what side of the fence you're on. Satan isn't necessarily an evil person.
No one said evil. He just said he plays Satan. I'm just saying.
I'm
just
talking
plays
about a villain. Satan has got a bad rap, man.
Okay.
Let's just
Okay.
Let's
Look,
break it down real
look,
quick.
look.
Real quick.
I like
He was-
Lucifer, so I'm okay.
There
I'm,
you
I'm-
go.
I'm okay
There
with
you
you
go.
saying that.
You
I
gotta
love
see
Lucifer.
You have to see
So-
things from the opposite
Right.
side. You can't always just take one side of things. He got kicked out of heaven. Why? Because he was playing music and playing his music a little bit too loud. And
Because
All in
come on,
Marvel,
man.
I
because
agree.
yeah, because he didn't want to step in line to what God said he wanted him to do.
Right. I mean, it's like, look, you made me
wasn't no line
to
stepper?
be
Come
a
on.
beautiful musician,
Right.
and I'm sitting here trying to give music to the masses and to the people,
And you gonna
and
kick
you
me
gonna
out.
kick me out.
You gonna kick me out for that?
So-
okay,
You got to see it from both. You can't just take one side. It's both sides.
all right. So
I'm
all
just
right.
saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Devil's advocate.
I
So
feel
one
you.
more rapper / actor. What about Common? Because I like Common. I like
Common
his
was
act-
good. Common was really good in John Wick too.
He was good in John Wick 2.
He was
I liked
good.
him in what was that movie with Tina Fey and Steve Carell? It was it Date Night? Yeah, I liked him in
He
that.
was also in
He was in the kitchen.
Barbershop
He was
Part
working
3?
in that
He was in
movie.
the
Yeah.
kitchen. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
he was
true.
in the kitchen. He was in Barbershop
I didn't
Part
see the
3.
kitchen. I
He
wanted
was
to see
also
the
he was
kitchen.
also in that movie
Looking
Now You
Aces?
See Me. He was in that Now You See Me
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, he was with the
Yeah.
first one, right?
He was the captain. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
he
first
must
one.
have
Yeah.
squashed that beef with Ice Cube being in Barbershop 3.
Oh, there's another one. Ice Cube. as a rapper
Well,
slash
see,
actor.
Ice Cube was one of the prototypical in the
True,
first
true.
for that gathered a lot of
Because
attention.
nobody saw him in Boys in the Hood. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever
Right.
saw that coming.
Uh-huh.
It's like
and then for him to do the switch and stuff like, are we there yet?
Right.
And then of course he did Anaconda. And
Friday.
So it's like he's
But
Friday.
Ice
Friday
Cube
he did a lot of work to get Friday
Three
out.
Kings, bro.
Yeah,
Three
he was
Kings
really
was
good in Three Kings.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What'd you
No.
say, Malian?
Ice Cube doesn't play like vastly different roles though. He always is like that tough guy, or
Except for
not in
I don't
Three
know about
Kings.
that one.
In Three Kings, he was kind of the
straight laced soldier.
no, he was a soldier, but he was
Yeah.
almost not coward, because soldiers aren't cowards.
But he didn't want to take
But-
no risks.
Yeah, he was
didn't wanna-
very risk averse.
Yeah.
In the middle of.
Okay, so I would say that he was that hood dude who got into the military and was not that good dude anymore. He still
about in
was.
Are We There
like,
Yet?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Are We
He
There
also
Yet? He played the tough guy that had to take care of some kids.
Right.
Which untoughtified him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was he wasn't under the Disney banner, but it was his Disney movie.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Right. Fallen Marvel's got it right. To be fair, no one is trying to die in a war. Hey, and believe me,
I didn't say go out there and
That's
jump
not
on
always true.
grenades
Right.
and shrapnel and whatnot.
And we
Right.
heard of the
They had that.
Like, come on, there are people who want to die in war. Let's just
Oh, we know that, and they're
I
crazy.
completely understand
They're
that. But
crazy.
they had that one scene where they were shooting off like smoke grenades, and he was pissing his pants.
Hell
worried
yeah,
that it
he's-
was mustard
he's
gas
like,
or something. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it worked though. I mean, again, it's
It does. And also,
Yeah.
I would also like to bring up Queen Latifah because she's a good actress.
oh, of
yes,
course,
she
yeah.
is. Yes, she
We
is. You
also
know what?
a
This
rapper.
sounds like another great topic that we need to have.
Eventually,
Yeah, we
unless
need to
y'all
have
want
that
to, you know,
one.
when we
Yeah.
get to the power is yours.
Yeah,
and
no,
y'all-
no.
and
Yeah,
y'all
we can
over
bring this
there
up in the
in
power is
chat
yours. You know,
can bring it
yeah.
back.
But we're gonna move on to this week in gaming, and then we'll talk about some games, and then we'll get to the main event. So let's go.
Woo!
This week in gaming.
in gaming. Hope everybody enjoyed it. There was a lot of really great games that came out over the course of time for this past week. We got 14 people in the chat. We want to hear from you, but you're also going to hear from us. GQ, what was your favorite game that came out this past week?
There was a lot in there. I mean, you had Street Fighter 4, you had Grand Theft Auto 4, you had Wolverine Origins, which is probably that was actually one of my favorite games of that particular Wolverine line of games, because he's had some really bad ones, but that one was amazing.
Dude, that was by far you know what's interesting about that one, right? The interesting thing about X-Men Origins Wolverine, not only that it's probably the best movie video game adaptation we've ever seen, but it was in the early running for best video game comic book adaptation of a single character ever. But you know what ruined that? It was about maybe very shortly thereafter, Batman Arkham Asylum came out. Yeah, and as soon as that came out, it was over.
Arkham is kind of on its own level.
Right,
just
right.
Like,
yeah.
Wow, these guys finally got a great Batman game that's just like amazing. But like out of all those games, I hate to say it, it's my freaking motto. Own it, haven't played it. I do have Wolverine, that game, haven't played it.
Have you played? Come
but
on!
I'm gonna get around to it one day.
Come on!
I'm sorry.
You're killing me.
I have played Grand Theft Auto 4, haven't beat it yet. I have played Street Fighter 4, of course. Come on now. What was that other one that was in there? My brain, come on, brain. Forget it.
Echo Chrome?
Well, I didn't play Echo Chrome.
Echo Chrome was actually a fun game.
Yeah, what was that other one? Darn it. It was
Sylpheed?
the first one. Oh, yeah, Sylpheed. That was a PlayStation 2 one, though. I have that one.
Oh, okay.
And I think I have the Sega CD one as well. Don't remember. But it's like, it's if you guys are out there and if you want to see this old man play some video games and talk to you, man, just give me some thumbs up and we'll make it happen. Because I want to be there, play these games. I want to share them with you guys out there. So, because I love playing video games. I just also love sleep. This old man come home. I sit on the couch. If I'm not, look,
you know what we need to get him? We need to get him a rocking chair with a controller in it, so he can just
fall asleep
he can have his and so
that.
he can have a blanket wrapped around him in his lap. He would just be rocking back like, oh yeah, I just wanted to play some. And start snoring.
Yeah.
For all of y'all on Facebook, I apologize. It was my fault. I picked some bad music for the pre-show.
Bad GQ. Well, yeah. But no, come on over to YouTube. It's better over here anyway.
We're here on YouTube having
fun. Because we have the latency over here. It's almost like instantaneous. There's no delay.
Yeah.
So Miayan, I want to hear from you. What was your favorite game that came out this past week out of the list?
Grand Theft Auto. I think that was the only one that I really played that I was any good at. The rest of them I've really sucked in. As you guys know, I am not good at
fighting games. Yeah.
Oh, so you'd being a degenerate over there just.
Oh, absolutely. In my video game life, I am the scum of the earth.
Okay, hold on. So how many stars you be? How long can you run 5 or 6 stars in that game?
I don't know about Liberty City, but
No, I'm talking about 4. Grand Theft Auto 4. How long can you go with a 5-star count? Running from the cops. How long can you do it?
I don't know. I haven't played it so long. I don't know.
Sounds
I
like
would say in
very
Grand Theft
long.
Auto 5, I can do it for about an hour and a half.
Oh, so you can run. Okay, all right. You got a little bit of skill.
Okay.
Because I go from the car, because it all starts from the car. So running tricks over. And then I go from the car. I always go to the airport, steal some kind of aircraft, get into the air, and they're chasing me around that way for a while. Jump out of the plane, parachute somewhere safe, steal a car, get on the water, and repeat. So get back, I do that for an hour and a half. It's glorious until eventually I get to where the military base is. I always die over there.
Oh, so your own people shooting you down. So in other words, you never stole a jet.
I have stolen a jet before, but you have to know how to jump out of a jet to survive.
Oh, no. If you do it right, first of all, when you go get the jet, they're going to bring, as soon as you get on the base, they're going to be on you. So once you get in the plane, the first thing you have to do is lowly hover and fire your Vulcan machine guns at the tanks, then fly away. But if you fly up too high, immediately the heat seekers will take you down and you will die.
This dude.
What did I say? I said I was the scum of the earth. I do not have that much skill to do
Oh no
that.
no no
What
no
I
no!
do
You cannot be true
is
scum of the earth unless you got a jet. You need a jet. You need to straight up.
No.
What was
stick
that?
to
What was
what
that
I
other
know.
game? What was that clone? The Grand Theft Auto clone that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you talking about what is it? It used to be a like Xbox exclusive for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know which one.
Some of
you're
y'all
talking
out
about.
there know exactly. What
Yeah, I
I'm
know
talking
exactly
about,
which one it is, but man, I cannot
there was
think
four
of
of
it.
them. There was
Yeah.
4 of them. But
What were we talking about?
No,
The
the
Grand Theft
Xbox,
Auto
the
clone.
Grand Theft Auto clone that used to be on.
remember,
Xbox,
it started
was
off as a
exclusive.
clone of Grand Theft Auto. Then in the second one, they was like, F
Saints
it. We
Row.
just Saints
Saints
Row,
Row?
yeah.
Yeah, Saints
And
Row.
Saints
That's it.
Row, if you
Just went all
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
hinges.
Saints
Yeah.
Row. Yeah.
Saints Row 3, if you didn't
Yeah.
have a jet, because I ain't gonna lie, in Saints Row 3, I had a purple jet flying around the city, blowing up everybody.
I ain't played it.
You need to play that
Saints
game.
Row.
Saints Row 3 was
That
the
is
deal.
my game.
Yeah.
Until, Saints
Yeah.
Row.
I was gonna
That's still
say,
my game.
Fallen Marvel over there has got like a personal grudge against GTA 4. He says I worked at GTA 4, and that's the majority reason I never played it. We were in the store till 5 a.m. on a midnight release.
I don't even get
On a
that. It's like
midnight
you would
release.
think the gamers would come up there, grab their games, be gone in
Because
an
people,
hour.
Well,
because
and
GameStop
go.
policies is
sometimes
kinda
people,
suck.
sometimes people will be talking, man.
Yeah.
Like, go the fuck home and play the game.
Exactly.
Saber Wolves 1 is saying going back Gangs of London on PSP. Now, I personally never played that, but a lot of those, at that point in time, Grand Theft Auto was, once Grand Theft Auto 3, because again, Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, people played it, but a lot of people didn't play it like
Yeah.
they played 3.
Right.
3 was the game changer.
Yeah,
'cause
absolutely.
It became the first real good sandbox, open world, do what you want to do game.
Which is,
And it was just like, wow.
I found it really interesting that they went from 3, which was in Liberty City. They
Mm-hmm.
had two other entries that were not numbered.
But they came later.
And the next,
Yeah, they
It
came
was-
later.
It was they came out with 3, and then when you say 2 other entries, it was
No.
Vice City.
Yeah, I know,
and-
Vice City and San Andreas.
Yeah.
You know, which weren't numbered. But
Yeah.
then the very next numbered entry goes back to Liberty City. I just found that interesting a little
It
bit.
is kind of
Because
Yeah.
New York is huge.
Yeah.
And
No,
New
I
York-
get it.
New York is a good place to, and again, the star of the 4th game was an immigrant, so
Mm-hmm.
that's an easy place to
Legal.
just,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
you landed in New York and went to go see his
Yeah, absolutely.
His
Now,
cousin.
there's there's a couple other games that are not being mentioned as of right now, but one of them, Fallen Marvel was a fan of too. NBA Street Volume 2 do. The throwback feel that NBA Street Volume 2 had, like with classic Dr. J in his New York Nets jersey, Michael Jordan with the script written Chicago across. It was Skinny Jordan, not
Yeah, Skinny
Yeah, it
Jordan.
was Skinny Jordan.
Skinny
John John, not Ham. No, it wasn't Havlicek. You had Kuzi in the game. You had Larry Bird in the game. You had Magic in the game,
like
and
a
it was
bunch of
all
old
about
people.
Converse. No, it was but it was just
I'm
old school
joking.
throwback.
I know.
And dude, the soundtrack was banging. The soundtrack was banging.
Look, EA Sports Big
Yeah.
was the best thing EA ever did.
Oh,
And then-
absolutely.
and then after that-
SSX, come
yeah,
on.
SSX was another good one.
Right.
But and of course, what?
What?
The Sims. Hello.
What is The Sims?
That's
Oh,
EA.
that's only the biggest franchise EA has ever had.
Oh, except
Yeah.
you can't do nothing special or fun in that because
Yeah,
The Sims
you
is boring.
You can kill people.
Excuse me.
So one of the
What?
things that people would do in The Sims was make a house with no doors, and then put people in there and then set things on fire. I've heard people doing stuff like that,
But-
or
but-
put people in
but-
the pool, go in the pool,
but you
and
I
then
mean,
take away
there's
the
other ways to kill people, but
it's not.
yeah, take
it's-
away the stairs, and then they drown in the
it's-
pool.
But it's not graphic violence though. It's just little pixelated
Hey,
whatever.
you could come up with some devious
What?
way, like I said.
It's not pixelated. You
You
guys
said-
need to get up on The Sims.
I don't know. I'm not. I know what you're talking
I
about.
stopped playing The
with
Sims after 3.
I didn't play it, but I know all of it.
Yeah, I stopped playing The Sims after
I stopped
3.
playing
I
The
was
Sims.
dumb.
I stopped
Or
playing The
is-
Sims when it was called Sim City 3000.
And those
Okay,
games,
so
I don't think. was
never
fun.
played The Sims then.
I don't need to play The Sims. You know why? Because I know people that play The Sims,
Yeah.
and that's
Me?
all I need. No, I know you. You know what the funny thing is? All the people that I know that play The Sims are female.
I wonder why. It's like computerized dollhouses. That's what it is.
Oh,
You say
Computerized dollhouses, man.
It must be.
That's all it is. Anyway,
Expansion packs.
so one other game that was on there that didn't really get two other games didn't get talked about much. One was Echo Chrome, which I found, as a puzzler, I thought was really interesting, especially with the move components that they had with it. I thought Echo Chrome was actually a very simplistic, but surprisingly difficult game because of the way you had to play with the angles in shadows and stuff like that. I thought Echo Chrome was pretty dope. I loved that game. But a game I haven't played that a lot of people kind of like were initially excited about and then quickly soured on was Days Gone. Like,
didn't play it, don't have it,
dude. There was hype for this game going into it, and then it was like day one. All of a sudden, it just fizzled out completely.
Because the demo they showed was you running from hordes and hordes of zombies trying to kill you.
Right.
And no, it's in there, but it's in there way later. Like you got to build to that point. To me, it's like, look, if that's your tech demo and that's what you show at E3 and all that other good stuff, I better be running into that within the first 20 minutes. And it's not like that. Because that's why I like Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead, to me, is something that needs to come back. Because Left 4 Dead, it was such a rush to play that game, and it never played the same way twice. It was literally, okay, it's you and these 4 people, and the game, if the game saw that you was doing a little too well, oh, here comes that witch. Somewhere, some way, you're going to hear somebody crying, or the tank would come through and take you out, or, hey, guess what? We gonna set off a car alarm because whatever, we need a horde to get you. I love that game. Like they need to go back to that style of
that game. Was fun. It was really fun, and me, wasn't a big fan of first-person shooters because it made me feel ill. That game did not make me feel ill at all. I did not feel
weird.
sick.
I don't understand.
I think was
it first person, but I thought it was third person.
No, it's first person.
Really? I thought it was third. No.
What bothers me the most in first-person shooter games is like. When I can't find out where the hell I'm supposed to go, and I'm consistently walking back and forth trying to find either a key or some shit, and that starts. I start feeling irritated, then I start feeling nauseous, and then I gotta turn it the fuck off.
Okay, all right, interesting.
So I don't know if it's first person shooter or is it just that feeling of feeling frustrated as shit and just not because I start feeling sick. I'm like, God.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, well, and then I think the other game on there was Selfie, but I mean we talked about that.
We talked about that
a little bit. That was a shooter.
I didn't play
I like that one more. I like the original that was on Sega CD.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really cool at the time when it first came out. Selfie. So I never really got to play the sequel. At some point, I think I forgot that they even had a sequel.
I think it was close to launch because it's a blue disc.
It's a blue disc.
2
Oh,
game.
really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure how close to the launch of PlayStation 2 it came out.
Right.
Because I do have it. I saw it in my thing. It doesn't show me that I have the Sega CD one in my collection. I think I have the Sega CD. And just for some of those people out there, if you want to see that, I don't know if that's going to focus real good there.
You're holding it down a little bit too low.
Bring it up too much.
Bring it up. There you go.
That's my collection right there. So that's how many video games are in there. So when it comes to what
you need throwing out Atari Boxing and stream that.
if I get me, it's called a Retron 76.
Yeah,
that's a Retro 2600.
I mixed it up with you. I used to beat the shit out of my brother all the time.
I do that. Yeah. I do that in a heartbeat.
Atari Boxing though, once you got him into that rhythm, it was instant knockout.
Just forget it. Forget it. The only other one that I like of those classic boxing games besides that one was Intellivision Boxing. I love that one too. That one was pretty dope.
Just don't play the Smurfs.
Oh yeah, you played that the other day.
That game.
I forgot all about
that game.
Wait, no, that was the Atari 2600 version.
That was
the Intellivision. No, it was ColecoVision version.
The Coleco Smurfs was great.
Yeah, that was great.
That other one that I was playing the other day was like, what the?
Yeah, what the hell is this? It was broken everywhere.
Couldn't jump over a fence. That was like less than.
And you couldn't. What was it? It was a spider that you just couldn't avoid.
No, it wasn't that. It was like there was literally a 4-inch drop that killed him. Like he literally walked off a step and died. I'm like,
that's
like what? So, game developers back in the day didn't really get it.
Hey man, the technology just wasn't there. They did their best. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move on to what is gonna be the main event. We're moving the main event up a little bit this time because we're gonna talk about hashtag BlackAF and kind of what it means to Black America and how we treat TV anyway, in general. The main event. All right. So, Dido, this was your topic, so I want you to introduce it.
Well, everybody out there, as you guys may or may not know, despite the levels of melanin I have, I am a black African American, as well as.
Put that disclaimer in there.
Sometimes people think So I live in Detroit, grew up here. We have a big Arabic community in Dearborn. We also have a Latino community in Southwest Detroit, and people think I'm wherever I am, depending on how I look. Not necessarily like this. I can throw up some pictures where I have looked like I was in Dearborn, and I have had Arabic being spoken to me at a restaurant because the person thought I was, and I'm not lying. And when in Southwest, I had people, talk to me in Spanish thinking but regardless of that, so sometimes I have to put that out there. But regardless of that, I sit and watch TV, and I like TV of all kinds. And this BlackAF came out on Netflix. I don't know how long ago, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to check this out. I did not know watching it because I watched a few episodes of Blackish, and then they took it off of Hulu at the time, and I pretty much liked the show. I thought it was kind of comparable to, say, like the Cosby Show of today's age, where you have an affluent black family, but you have, the father who came from, Inglewood. Mm-hmm. So that's the hood, I guess, in California.
It is one of them.
Yeah, and then, he has money. His wife's a doctor, and he has all these kids, and he's living a way better life than what he was grown to do. Mm-hmm. And I knew nothing of the creator of that, and then watching the show, I started looking it up and find out, Kenya Burris is the creator of Blackish, and he wrote
and Mixed.
Yeah, all the side stories of that stuff like that. And then he also wrote a few movies out there, and I'm watching the show, and I enjoyed the show. I thought it was funny. People compared it to like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where I can see that. I thought it was funny, him, having a relationship with his daughters and his wife, and I could see where he gets his inspiration from, even though it's probably a little bit more turned up, what have you.
Right.
But then I started looking on Facebook and seeing people complaining about the show, saying doesn't represent Black America, this doesn't do this and this. And I'm like, okay, so I don't quite understand what does represent Black America, because Black people, I hate to say, come in many shades. Mm-hmm. They're not everybody's from the hood. Not everybody, like, I grew up in Detroit proper. Like, people, the way I speak, people don't think I am. I was in Detroit. I have been in fights with people that were in gangs. I have had stuff. I've had that stuff growing up, You may not see it just because how I am right now. It could be like how Kenya Burris was, what you call it. But that doesn't stop me from being Black and enjoying, television. I enjoy TV. I don't necessarily need it to be something that is a straight representative of what I'm supposed to see, because, again, not everybody, swam in the exact same, water, temperature-wise. People have done different things. And on top of that, people do grow, and their lives do change over time. So I didn't quite understand how some people can watch this show and say it doesn't represent Black people. Oh, this guy, he's married to a Black woman that looks like because she's half Black, she looks like she's white, she's passing. It's like, does it matter if she's half Black or not? She's Black. Barack Obama's half Black, half white, but nobody freaking says stuff like that. Actually, there are people out there that did say stuff like that. Take that back. But if you look at other Black TV shows that we grew up with, Martin, Cosby Show,
A Different World.
There's tons of, the Jeffersons. If you would think about the Jeffersons would be like that version of Blackish. Somebody who was not born rich, did his work.
And George wasn't really rich.
Yeah.
He was just
he was a lot more wealthier than normal.
Right. He was more middle class. Yeah. Right.
And he was probably upper middle class because he did own his own business.
Right.
Yeah. And so I never quite understand why people have this idea of what Black is supposed to be versus what it is, which is not something that is what do you call it? Not paint by numbers. It's just not like that.
Doesn't fit in the box of the stereotype.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the box at all.
All right, I hear you. All right, so Miaoyan, you actually saw the show, and I want you to take that hand off and kind of run with it.
No spoilers, though.
No spoilers.
Some people are worried about
no
spoilers.
I'm not gonna have any spoilers. So I went in it with an open mind because I'm just like, all right, I won for actors and actresses and stuff like that, there are certain people I follow. I'm just like, if I've seen them in a show, especially if it's in a role that they haven't done before, I'm interested to see how that transitions, right? To see, like, as we were talking about earlier, the range. So I was interested in I wasn't interested in the show until I heard Rashida Jones was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Rashida Jones. I like, she always plays in like comedies and stuff like that. And she always makes me laugh. And she did make me laugh in this, but it wasn't really different or like transformative now that she was playing like a Black character. Because to me, she always plays like a very ambiguous person. You're just like, I'm not sure if she's white. She might be this. She might be that. She always plays those kind of roles. So in this one, she was a mixed woman, but specifically mixed with Black. And I thought it was fine. I didn't think that, like, I wasn't like overwhelmingly like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But I also wasn't like, this is complete trash. I was like, it's a silly show. I can see how it's satire. I can see why people love it. And I can see how other people find it annoying or don't like it. I think it's a typical sitcom, and typically nowadays I don't really like sitcoms. I like very, very old sitcoms, or I really don't watch them at all. But it's a sitcom for this age. I don't think that, because of the type of shows that I like, I'm not the target audience for it.
Okay.
I know that I watched BlackAF, and me and my husband watched BlackAF. He likes it more than I do, because I think that Anthony Anderson's character is a terrible father. So,
hey, but Kenya Burris in there seemed like he was not that great either.
Off. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's the same, but it's the same show. It's just this one is on. It's like the difference between a show being on network TV and then one being on like cable. Because they cuss and all this kind of stuff. So I thought it was good for what it was. To me, it could go either way. I still have 2 episodes left to watch, but I was like, it is what it is. It's just something silly to watch to pass the time. Again, I see why people don't like it, and I know it will get into some of these things later for us being part of the community. When it comes to the community, but like watching the show, I was entertained. It's not something I'll watch again. So it is what it is.
Okay. So GQ, I'm gonna hand it over to you, and you give your perspective on it. You and I, neither one of us, we've watched it. We haven't watched it at all.
Main thing I watched on it was an extended trailer just to kind of get the show concept.
Right.
I get it, from the sitcom standpoint, and very similar to what Miao Yen said. It's not really my type of show. It's not something that I'm really gonna sit down and enjoy. But at the same time, I can appreciate the different aspect, the different take on things, because, like, for example, this just falls into a category of, okay, this is an affluent Black family. You had shows like Rock back in the day with Charles S. Dutton.
Very overlooked show.
And Rocky Carroll, and it was just like that show was all highly trained actors and actually did a live season, which was freaking.
Was it a season or just one show?
No, it was a season.
It was a season that was live.
Wow.
Like they did it live, and
they killed it.
Yeah,
it was
killed it.
I remember
crazy.
that. That show was great.
Yeah. So and it's like, and the thing is, that show shows one particular aspect of maybe that some people can relate to. 227 is something that certain people can relate to.
My mom used to love that show.
Stuff like,
I used
remember
to
that?
love 227 too.
Right, that show Amen. Some people
used
can
to
relate.
watch that show.
Some people can.
Oh my gosh.
Some people that grew up in a, but the thing is, anybody that grew up in a church can relate to that.
Yeah.
Each one of those different types of shows, Good Times, all of those different shows represent a different segment of the Black community as a whole. Not one of those shows is the definitive, example of being Black. None of those shows is the end all be all. If you watch this show, this is exactly what it. No,
this is the Black experience.
Right,
There's
different experiences of being Black in this country.
Right, and you bring up a very interesting point, and I think that kind of parallels to what we see in kind of in social media and black culture today, it's weird. You've got certain aspects of black culture that are in some of these black nerd groups, and they want to treat black culture as a monolith. Like it's a one size fit all. If you don't fit in this box, you ain't black. You gotta like certain type of music, you gotta like certain type of show, you gotta learn a certain type of movie. You gotta act a certain way. You gotta dress a certain way. You gotta present yourself in a certain way.
Now
which is weird.
Hold on. When we say black, in certain aspects, that's not just talking about people, African American. That is talking about all people of color.
Correct.
But in what you're saying,
right,
that almost seems to be an exclusively black thing.
Right.
Because I have never really honestly noticed that in Latino communities and Asian communities and Indian communities. It's like, yeah, they got differences in the sense of like, okay, well, this person is into this thing and that's kind of odd for our culture. But we don't suddenly say that they're not Indian enough or they're not Asian. They're still Asian. They're still Indian. They're still Latino. But black people love to you acting too white.
Right.
How the hell can I act white when I'm clearly a black man? So it's just it's like that's the one thing that I think the black community really should tone down or actually just eliminate, because it's like regardless of what you think, what you went through, like Dido said early off. Not everybody swam in the same, waters. Right. You all have different experiences. We all came up doing different things, different ways, whatever. We might have shared interests, but I can't say I've walked a mile in this man's shoes or this man's shoes because I haven't.
Right.
But there are things that we all experience. We have, similar interests or whatever. Right. But that doesn't make him any less black or me any less black, you any less black or whatever.
And it's strange because a lot of those out there, especially I see it in some ways. This always happens with very immature segments of black community, of the black community or black fandom even, whereas any experience that is outside of yours that you don't know, you automatically devalue.
Oh yeah, it was like that me growing up. That's why when I found you guys back when I was 17 years old, I was ecstatic because growing up my whole entire life, that's how it was. If I was into cartoons, I was into video games, I was slightly into comic books, and none of my peers growing up at this school,
and they clowned you for it.
A one, yeah,
they clowned you for it all the time.
And it was like you find some people once in a while that did like a little bit. Like in one of the high schools I went to, a friend, and he was from Tennessee. And he was the first black person I ever knew that did not just listen to rap music. He introduced me to other freaking music. And he also liked anime. He wasn't a big video game person, but he liked anime. But then he ended up moving away. But before then, it was just like people that I knew, you had to fit in with them. Like, I tried hard as heck.
I bet you did.
I still like basketball at the time. I played a shit ton of basketball. I tried to dress like everybody. I don't know if you guys remember Carl Kanai back in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Begged my mom to give me a Carl Kanai outfit. $70 T-shirt. I don't know how much the pants were.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you could not wear the same outfit nobody else would wear in school. If you had the same shoes, like, somebody had shoes, you jocking off them, stuff like that.
Yep.
And it was just... Try hard. And then I got to the point. It's like, you know what? Screw these. It's like I'm not doing this no more.
Right.
I'm not at all. And then it wasn't seriously until I met Waffles and his brother, and then we met you guys, and I was like, I got other black people that like the stuff that I like how I like it. And it's just like, wow.
And you didn't feel judged. You didn't feel judged anymore.
Not at all.
And I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's like, people look at black, to bring it back to what we're talking about. People look at Black AF and they can't relate to it because it's about a rich guy, his very light-skinned wife, their children, and they're all affluent. It's unrelatable to GQ's point. 227, relatable. Amen, relatable. In certain ways.
Hold on.
In certain ways.
Yeah.
In certain ways.
No, great. I want to hear from y'all on this overall topic first off, and then we'll jump back into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what was the question?
Well, no, I was just saying it was just like people see Black AF and it's unrelatable, but they automatically say, I've heard it say that this is a show made about the black experience to teach white people about the black experience. And I'm like, that's weird. I was like, why do you see it that way?
What? It's not wrong in that sense. It is explaining black people to white people. I'm not going
Okay.
to sit here and try to, like, after watching the show,
Mhm.
I immediately understood where they were coming from, and that's what makes it satire. So us as Black people, we know certain things, we understand certain things, and we have either have these lived experiences or have been in a situation that you're kind of like whatever has happened in the show, because it's a ton of things that are like that. So as Black people, and we see the title, Black as fuck, we're just like, okay, this is something for us. But then when you watch, for me, and I will say for me, and I will echo from other folks that I've talked to who have that sentiment, when it's certain things that you have already experienced, and it's either going to come off as like, oh, this is super corny.
Mhm.
It's taking that experience and like trying to make a joke out of it, but it's just like, it's not really what it is, but I see what you're doing, blah. Or it is kind of like preaching to the choir. So I can see why there are some Black folks who are just like, I ain't with it, I don't like it, because to them that is not something that and I want to say us. I'm not going to say it, but it's just a certain thing that they talk about that it's just like, all right, guy.
But
like,
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
but
question.
Go ahead.
at the same
Let me ask you a
time,
question. Let me ask you a question.
wait, well, let me
Let
finish.
her
real quick.
finish.
Yeah.
So at the same time, as a white person watching the show, you're just like, oh, I didn't understand. I get that now. I understand this situation. I understand that situation, because it's not your lived experience. So for that, that's why it's like teaching. It's like explaining Black people to white people.
Okay.
But see, but that's the thing. Two things. First off, he's basically freaking supposedly writing about his life. So that's the thing where I don't quite understand how you're saying explaining Black people, because the whole thing is one of the first things he was saying in the first episode is like, fucking hate white people. That's like one of the things he was saying. So like, to me, that doesn't seem like he's
But
trying
I think
to,
he's explaining his perspective behind that, right?
well, he's saying it because
Exactly.
he
He
feels
goes
being
through a
judged based
scenario.
on how he's dressed.
Right.
Because he's Black, he's rich, but people are staring at him because he thinks that they staring at him because either he's a musician or a drug dealer. It's called white gaze, and people are like, what the hell gays have to do with it? It's not. He says it's not gays.
No spoilers
But that's
here.
not. That's first
No
freaking
spoilers.
episode.
Yeah, but still.
But that's one of the things. And number two, had this show starred, say, Snoop Dogg, and I'm just gonna say Snoop Dogg out there because he is somebody that came from the hood. He's rich as shit now. He don't live in the hood. He don't live like he hood. He does smoke a lot of weed, but I'm pretty sure his kids go to good fucking schools. He freaking does all the same stuff Kenya Burris does. Go to nice ass restaurants, eat all the other stuff, hang out with I'm pretty goddamn sure. If this show was exactly the same, but from Snoop Dogg being and himself in it, but his kids not growing up hood, his kids not understanding certain things, well, people say the same fucking thing.
Didn't Snoop Dogg have a reality show for like a
with
short
Martha
period of
Stewart.
time?
With Martha Stewart of all people.
Oh well.
I mean, I
Well,
think he had
no.
one just of his
Oh no, that
family.
was just a
It's
cookie
about
show.
his family.
But he
Yeah.
did have a reality show. Yes, he did.
So the difference in that is like you're looking at Snoop Dogg's life,
Yeah.
right? So we
But I mean,
already have a show.
satire life.
So this is the other thing that I would say that I'm just like, all right, Kenya Burris, I like some of your other stuff. Stop fucking making TV shows about your family. We have 5 of them, right?
But the thing
Is
is,
it
I mean,
four?
if that's
It's 4 or
if that's how he's getting paid, though.
I get it. I understand it. But I'm just like, this show outside of, I can't remember what his wife's name is in this show. It begins with a J, but it's like, it's the carbon copy of Blackish with a little different stuff like sprinkled in there.
Okay,
Like
but
it's
you
not
but
that different of a
you
show.
have to
It's
remember,
not
but
like
you
super creative.
you have
that
to
he-
remember how the entertainment industry works, though. They work off of sequels and
know.
spiritual successors of, because we wouldn't have had Flavor of Love and then all those freaking
Jesus
spin-offs
Christ.
of that show that were produced by Flavor Flav.
Jesus Christ.
If people weren't,
Yeah.
picking up and watching it and making it number one. So I mean,
And I'm
think,
not gonna say that I understand people watch stuff. I watched Tiger King today. It's crazy
Yeah.
bullshit, and I watched that. And I understand people love trash.
Training. Yeah.
Okay,
People
I
love
understand.
trash. Right.
Excuse me.
People like a sequel. People like trash. But I'm not calling the show trash. But what I'm saying is, you took a show, and this is my take. I'm not saying this is anybody else's. You took a show that was already made, and you made it again, and you gave it a raunchier title, and
Okay.
you had raunchier stuff in it, but it's the same.
Okay.
I got you.
Right.
I completely understand that.
So
Yeah.
it's what it is, and the difference is now, instead of his wife being a doctor, she is a lawyer who doesn't work. Okay.
Right.
You
So
know,
one thing I kind
there
of wanted
are
to bring up.
dynamics in it that are different than there are people, and there's certain reasons why I can relate to it, and that I found certain things funny because of the dynamics, because where I grew up and then where I am now, I can understand that change. But some people don't relate to that, and that's why I go back to, I'm not the demographic for it. And I also would like to say, like, everything isn't for every,body. Even if it's made for Black people, it's not made for all Black people.
Real quick.
Like,
I
I
got
don't
another
expect
thing.
all of you guys to watch Insecure.
I like Insecure.
You're not the demographic for that show.
I like Insecure. No. Like, I watched that show, but going back to that whole relate thing, because, like, that's one thing that I don't quite understand about entertainment, period. I like to watch stuff based on stories. I don't have to relate for anything. I like anime. I don't relate to any. I'm not Japanese.
Right.
I wasn't born Japanese. I like watching a lot of the stories. Not necessarily all the anime out there is, really Japanese centered. But I like watching kung fu flicks. I like watching Asian drama. My wife and I right now are watching Kim's Convenience, and it's about a Korean family where the parents are immigrants and the kids are not, and a lot of their stuff. She relates to that. I don't, and I still find it
But you
funny.
find it interesting.
And I find it interesting.
Right.
I don't think you should have to relate to anything to
you
watch.
do
It don't make any
relate to
sense.
it. You do
In what
relate
way?
to it because
What, through
you
her?
do relate to it because your wife is interested in it, and
She's
your wife
interested in it, but there's tons of
and
shows
your-
like sci-fi.
But I think what you're trying to say is
That's
you
the
don't
point.
necessarily understand everything behind it. You may relate to it in through her, but you don't necessarily understand all the kind of like nuances, and you find it interesting because you're picking up on some of these things,
Well,
right?
some of the times, but I
Right.
don't even look at it for the most part like that.
Right.
I watch something
Right, I hear you.
that I find is entertaining. It's either entertaining or it's not entertaining, and relating to it literally has nothing to do with me finding it entertaining or not.
Right, I hear you.
Maybe relate is the wrong word, and maybe it resonates with you for some reason, because you can something can resonate with you and you not necessarily relate to it. So maybe we want to say it resonates with you.
So I'm gonna try and wrap this up because we need to get to the power is yours. I want to actually hear from everybody that is out there on this topic and other topics, and I also wanted to get GQ's last thoughts on this too. Because I think leading into this, I think one of the core questions at the heart of this is why is Black culture, TV watching culture, or the Black fandom, I guess that's for lack of a better term, why are we so hard on our own stuff all the time? It's like I don't get it. So last comment for you, and then
real
we'll go
quick,
on
coming
the
out of the
power
chat,
use. Yeah.
even related to that,
Yeah.
I believe it was DBL King in the YouTube chat says we're the only race that feels a need to explain ourselves. That might be a big part of it. I personally don't. I look at it as when I walk into a place, if you have a problem with the amount of melanin in my skin, it is what it is. I don't really care. You as a person are not going to be in my life long enough to be even of any importance. So why do I care what you think? Now, if you're in my group of friends, my inner circle, your opinions matter. But until you get to that point, you're just somebody that's either behind the counter or just somebody that's in the bank or whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. As far as when it comes to entertainment, though, and when it comes to like TV shows and all the various stuff, I don't know. I mean, somebody brought up Good Times. Like Good Times, if you really look into that show and drill down into that show, there is a lot of major life lessons that can be learned from that show. Then you got JJ
being extra,
being the extra, and being the comedy part of it, and being the
right.
Because but the funny thing is, if you look at the original run of that show, first couple episodes before he became JJ the extra character, he wasn't necessarily like that. They had him tweak that once that became, a ratings thing, because, and that's part of the reason that James, what is the real
John
actor's name?
Amos?
John Amos. That's part of the reason he left the
Why he
show.
left.
It was like, dude, nah. It's like we had something good here,
Right.
And then
you
y'all just
turned it into a shucking and jiving type
right,
deal. Yeah.
right. Because there was this one episode that and it comes on a lot. Apparently, it was an episode where I think James was at a store or something, it got robbed, and I think he got shot or shot at, one of the two. I forgot exactly which one it was. And he was going to go down to the court, and he was like, look, I'm going to have to make sure this hoodlum gets thrown in jail, this and that, blah, blah, blah. He runs into that kid's mom outside the courthouse, and it's like, oh, shit, I'm about to put this lady's baby in jail for, whatever, for a long time.
Right.
And it hit him of like, you are... Now, granted, yes, this kid did you wrong, but you're going to perpetuate the not even just a stereotype, the reality of young black youth being put in prison and put in jail, and single mothers and all that other, the whole shebang. And it hit him hard, and he got into the court, and then the kid was basically playing the part of the hoodlum, just disrespectful, this and that, as much as you could be on TV at that time,
right?
And it was like it hit him. It hit him like a ton of bricks. It was like, dude, I'm, and because how he is, he's hot headed, he's stubborn as all get out. But like that episode hit hard because it was like that message that they put there was boom, front and center. So different shows can hit you in different ways.
Right.
It's just a matter of you got to dig through. Because, like, for example, the Fresh Prince episode, the one that everybody always talks about when
his dad
Will,
leaves.
Yeah, when Will earned his freaking acting, chops right then and there in that episode because of what James Avery told him right before that take.
Yep.
The whole setup of the absentee father or the father that wasn't there, and then you're raised by a different family member or whatever. Will did an amazing job in that particular scene, and everybody,
because he can relate to what was going on.
Exactly, and everybody remembers that one. Now, the other episode of Fresh Prince that really hit home on that note was the one where him and Carlton went to that frat party.
Yep,
and then
they
that one guy,
the
guy called him out for being fake, this and that. Yeah,
and Carlton dressed him down. That's right. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's just like. And the thing is, a lot of people, especially like in the nerd community, go through that. But it's just like, look, man.
Yeah.
Just because I don't either smoke weed or drink all the time
or listen
go
to rap,
to the club all the time, it's like it doesn't matter.
Right.
I guarantee you, if a racist cop pulls up right now,
he's gonna treat me.
He's going to treat me exactly like he treats anybody else that's got the same skin tone I got. So let's just be real.
Miao Yin, before you try and jump in, we need to get to the power of yours. Oh, I thought you were getting ready to jump in. I apologize. So we talked a lot about the subject. It's been a very powerful and thought-provoking subject. We want to hear from you. What's your thoughts on it, or anything else that you guys want to talk about? The power is yours.
The power is yours.
So let's see what everybody's got to say about this.
Can we make that bigger? Can we make it bigger? Is it possible?
Yeah. I'll go over there and make it bigger in a little bit.
All right.
She said, let's see, King Takeem. No, DBL King says Metro shows still exist. It's called Love and Hip Hop. Yeah, he ain't wrong about that.
Well, there you definitely have that. You also have they just recently got canceled actually off of Fox News Nation, I believe. Diamond and Silk or whatever. Oh yeah. They very, very minstrel, because it's like, full well the stuff that they say. I cannot believe half of the stuff that they're saying as being like real, or they truly believe. Now, if they do, they do, and that's pathetic. But you have that whole. I don't know. To me, I just don't like it, and I really, really, really wish that there was a way for people to just tune it out and just be done with it, and like guarantee you it would die off a lot faster if people would just ignore it and not give it oxygen. But unfortunately, a lot of people do. Now again, I can't. At the same time, I cannot also I can't be hypocritical and say that it should go away. In the fact that yes, there probably are people out there that are like that for real, and they, deserve their outlet too. Though I guess it just ain't gonna be on my watch for me. Like he's on my watch.
Minstrel show. When I think of that, it reminds me of that Spike Lee movie that came out with Savion Glover. What the hell's the name of that movie? Saw it a long time ago. I can't think of it now.
Who else was in it?
Mos Def was in it.
Oh dang! Well, you can't say that because early Spike Lee was Mos Def and Denzel Washington.
Mouse. What the
like,
heck?
Constantly.
It was them making a minstrel TV show.
Somebody in the chat help us out because
Come on, I can see it in my head.
Because
I can see it
Spike
in
Lee.
my head. It's a Spike Lee movie.
Bamboozled. Somebody brought up Bamboozled.
That's it. Thank you, Bamboozled.
Thank you very much, Ramona Stark.
Whenever I think of people talking about minstrel show, I definitely think of that movie, which I think is a completely underrated movie that basically is kind of I wouldn't say satires a lot of the stuff that we do see on some of those TV shows.
Okay, hold on, y'all bougie canned water.
Every time I drink
This
this,
is all that was left, man. Don't be hating.
I gotta go buy some more. I expect this to be
expected it to taste weird,
fizzy. It's like I needed fizzy, and it's just regular water. Like
flat water in a can.
Okay, so Follow Marvel's asking the question. Random question: did the character from Prototype 2 Borderline Minstrel just the angry black dude? LL. You know, honestly, that's kind of what I thought about Barrett in Final Fantasy VII Remake. He literally seemed like the stereotypical angry black dude. Like he's loud, boisterous, everything.
So if you're an angry black dude, that means you're minstrel?
Some people may see it that way.
That's just a stereotype. It's not mean you're minstrel.
Stereotype. It's not minstrel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got to be. See, that's the thing. There's so many definitions and so many different ways that people, I guess, put the opinions out there. But there are angry black men out there. That's not something that's fake.
It's it's representative of a small group of people. It's not the whole community, and that's kind of the problem. Is that usually when we have these things, it gets attached to the whole community when it's not everybody.
But see, here's the problem with that, though. I look at it as, now granted, not everybody's going to look at everybody as an individual and not put it as an entire, everybody in that particular community acts like that. It's like, no, the particular one that's directly in front of me is acting like that. That's how I look at it. So, and the thing is, and when it comes to the stereotypes or whatever, I understand they exist. I don't let people attach them to me until I fit that stereotype. If I'm pissed off, you'll never know it. I'll look right at you, might be hating your guts. You'll never know it. I'll smile at your face because I don't need to put it out there and put my emotions out there. I'm controlling like that. So it's one of those things where the individual is what you should judge based on what they're giving you directly, not because, it's a black guy walking down the street, I better clutch my purse. First of all, if that dude's bigger than you, he'd probably pull your purse away from you anyway. So let's just be real.
But I mean, you also cannot control people's perception of you.
Oh, I completely understand that.
Like, so, and I will say that, like, people tell me how I'm feeling when I'm just like, man, I'm glad you invited me on that because obviously I didn't know. But I'm just like, that is your perception of something that again, it goes all in that to that person who is saying, oh, this person is angry or this person is X, Y, and Z or insert, stereotype. I'm not one to be like, all right, I don't go around telling people they're angry or telling people how they feel because I don't want people to do that to me. Right. But we're generally not given those graces. And that's just what it is. Now, you would say, and unpopular opinion here, Love and Hip Hop or any other quote unquote black reality show being a minstrel show, I disagree with. It's just, again, another part of the community. So those people have their actions, their life, their world that I do not necessarily understand. I don't necessarily fit in or want to even be around, but I wouldn't call them a minstrel show just because I don't agree with it or that's not my life, because people will look at the nerd community and say the same thing. And that's where the whole you're acting white, you're doing this, you're doing that comes in, because that is their perception. So I think the respect needs to go around in all corners for that. It's like, just because we don't have the same lifestyle, which is there's tons of different lifestyles in the Black community. Just because we don't have the same lifestyle doesn't mean that we are putting on for non-Black people or white people in particular. I don't believe that, because people of other races get to just live and be themselves,
Right.
where we are always
We're
being
the only ones that tear each other down all the time.
Well, not even just the
No.
tearing down aspect of it. It's just sometimes it's like, don't feel that you have to explain anything to anybody. If
Right.
they don't
right.
get
Stop
it, then
explaining
just
yourself.
let
Like,
them
I am
wallow in
Black,
their
and I like
ignorance.
what I like.
Right.
Kind of
But it's hurtful. I mean, it's really hurtful for some people to have people that you count amongst your peers, look at you being completely genuine, and they want to just discard you.
I don't care.
I know you don't care. I'm just saying, I'm giving the perspective of some other
Yeah,
people that might be feeling that way.
Okay,
I agree
yeah.
with that. I
What'd
agree.
you say?
It is hurtful, but I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I grew thick skin because I've always been that weird kid since I was like very young. So to me, it got to a very quick point, as in, I don't care what other people think of me or how they see me, because at the end of the day, are they going to be at home with me? No. Are they going to be in my, are they going to be around me, or am I going to allow them to be around me with that energy? No. So I don't really care.
Okay.
Like, there are very few people in this world who I really care what they think of me. And I think that's where most of us need to get to.
Go ahead.
Quick correction. Gerald Boney had mentioned that Most Def was only in Bamboozled out of the Spike Lee movies. I was referring to, and I didn't mean Most Def is in a bunch of Spike Lee movies. I meant to say Lawrence Fishburne and Denzel Washington were his go-to people for his films. A
Right.
lot.
Somebody find DBL Kink's thing on the Warner Brothers E3 presentation, because I want to talk about that. But a quick question I want to throw out there to everybody. How do we, and this is related to the topics that we've been talking about, if the Cosby Show,
It's the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
It existed.
Okay,
I don't
no,
ca-
it,
look,
it existed. No,
I
I'm
do
just,
not
I'm just
care.
saying. I was
It
just gonna
existed.
say, if Cosby had done the Cosby Show today, how do you think Black America would have received it, with the way that they are so overly critical right now? Do they feel like it would have been genuine, or do they feel like it would have kind of been putting on for white people?
I think the Cosby Show would have been fine, and I'll tell you this. And I meant to bring this up earlier, but and it's gonna ruffle some feathers. I'm telling you right now, don't at me. I don't care. But so another thing that people have problems with when it comes to Kenya Burgess, and I understand why he does it, because that is his family. Again, that's why he needs to stop making stuff about his family and calling it Black this, Black that. The Cosby Show had two dark-skinned parents, right? They were very representative of Black people as how the masses see Black people. And we don't see a lot of positive, dark-skinned people on TV, full stop,
Living
period.
single.
So that's one show. Again, Cosby Show is one show. Living Single is one show. It is not the normal. You don't see a whole lot of these images. You see very little of these images. And then,
Hold on.
again,
It depends on what era you come from, because Rock was another one.
Yeah.
Rock was another one. You had Amen, that was another one. 227 was another one. You had a whole. Again,
but
you're younger than we
these-
are, so
these
during that
affluent
time,
people were these affluent people. All of those were not affluent people. They were either working class or they were middle class. That does not mean
I
affluence.
see what she's saying.
okay.
Ugh.
And that's my point. Dr. Huxtable and the lawyer, Mrs. Huxtable, were affluent. They
Right.
weren't just around the way or helping and doing all this kind of good stuff. It was good, and not saying that rock and all that stuff is bad. No, but we want to. What I'm talking about is affluent.
Okay.
And then when they're affluent, they can't be trifling. So going back to Insecure, Molly, she's affluent, but apparently she's trifling, right?
Yeah.
So, so when you have those dark skin representations, we want to see them, and we don't want them to be affluent, but
Okay, but
so
here's the
that is
thing. You
what-
can't. But here's the other issue. Black AF seems to be your affluent. Now, granted, their skin tones are of the lighter shade of black, but
That's it's a colorism issue. So I meant to
no,
throw
it's
that in
definitely
there.
no, it's definitely
It's a
it's always.
colorism
But
issue,
again,
and
that's
that's
something
why
that black people
people
do to
have
themselves.
issues
Right.
with
They do.
exactly. But him being a prominent person in the community, him and Tyler Perry being those folks,
Hmm.
if you watch their stuff, if you watch their shows, it's always, oh, you know, you have the dark skinned person, but they might be, but they're trifling or they're downtrodden, or, you know, it's never like, oh, I'm great. They could just not like the Cosby Show where they could just be great and smart and, you know,
Okay,
dealing with regular shit.
I understand what you're saying in that respect. Then yes, that is definitely something that is lacking. However,
And that's one of his biggest, and so again, that's one of the biggest criticisms that people have about his shows.
then you know how
General.
people can change that. They got to stop watching. They have to, or they have to either stop watching or
They have
demand.
stopped watching. They're not gonna be the demographic that changes that thing. Sorry. Again, that goes back to what I said earlier about explaining black people to white people. White people watch the show more than black people do. They are the ones lifting up these ratings.
Well,
Just
But if you think
just
about it, that's the only
true
reason
and
why rap music has been
what it
popular.
is.
Right.
hmm
Right.
Rap
So,
music
I mean-
could not have been popular on black people as long as there's not enough black people in this country.
And Fallen Marvel brings up another good point, right? So he was like, I'm surprised that nobody's mentioned Tyler Perry movies. And man, I kind of wanted to, but I felt like that particular aspect of this conversation has been done to death in talking about Tyler Perry movies. But here's another side, right? So take a show that's bathed in geek culture, that kind of was under attack from certain aspects of black culture or black fandom. Luke Cage on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So,
I need to go there.
right. Hey,
Go ahead.
brilliant minds think alike. Anyway, so some people felt like Luke Cage, as soon as he started, even though he was bulletproof black man and everybody could get with that, right? The instant, like even when he was on Jessica Jones's show, and when he started, hooking up with Jessica, people immediately started like attributing him and calling him a sellout. And then when you get to his own show, then they're saying, oh, well, it's come out that Mike Coulter's wife is white. Oh, we don't like him as Luke Cage no more because now he's not representative of the black experience because he's got a white wife, so he can't represent us anymore. How do y'all feel about that when people do that kind of stuff?
Well, people said the same thing about Terry Crews.
Terry Crews' wife is not white though.
Yeah, she's not white, but
She's just really light skinned black.
that's
I know, but people still say it even though as if she's white.
Well, yeah, because they say the same thing about
It's
Kenya
dumb.
Burris.
Right.
Like,
So
well, okay. So the thing the pattern I see here, we're talking about all these guys, right? One, I love Terry Crews, but he's a jackass. Okay, he says things that make people not like him. He does things that make people not like him, and bring up those things about his personal life, right? Same thing with Kenya Burris. Like, he's not necessarily said as much as Terry Crews has, but he's done things that make people like, okay, well, here you are saying these things. You have a mixed wife, so we see where you stand on that. It's certain things people can do that are a turnoff. Now, Michael Coulter, I don't know for him, but I also knew that was coming with Luke Cage because one, it's a comic book. Not everybody knows the comic book. So they're going to look at certain things and they're going to critique it in kind. Now, again, I had this conversation with a good friend a couple weeks ago. We both were like, we like Michael Coulter, but we can also see that there were better choices to cast Luke Cage. He got cast. We dealt with it. I enjoyed the show. I don't see Michael Coulter as being a dude that is believable from what the show is supposed to be. Did it make it bad? No.
I think
Could
for
it
some
been
people
better?
though,
Yes.
I think for some people though, they tried to attack it and say he wasn't black enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
again,
I don't see
get
how
that fucking
him
term.
being as
No,
dark
no,
and brown
not
as
him.
he is.
They were saying that Luke Cage
What?
didn't act black enough.
Is
Period.
he
In the
black
show.
enough in the comic? I mean, is he?
Well, yeah, he was black enough in the comic, and that's the thing that kind of threw me
I mean,
for a
I
loop.
think again, I think that goes back to the casting. Like again, that's what I just said. Like I like Luke Cage as a show, all that kind of stuff. Was Michael Coulter the perfect choice? No, he wasn't. I'm going to be honest about that. He wasn't the perfect choice. He wasn't 100% believable as this savior of Harlem as he was supposed to be. So,
Mhm.
you know, it is what it is. That just goes to his acting style. I think
Right.
he does better acting when he has to do a not necessarily an American character. So if he had to be like a Jamaican guy or a Caribbean guy or an
Mhm.
African dude, he probably would be more believable. But
But the
in
thing
that,
is, what about his portrayal makes him any less black? Is my overall
I don't
That's
question.
what I don't get.
I don't think it was his portrayal that made him less black. I just think that he just didn't seem to fit. And I think that's okay that he didn't fit because he was supposed to be a strange person. He was a superhero, right?
Mhm.
Well, but the thing is,
In the comic book, was he more of like an around the way dude? Is he a dude who like everybody in the community knew him, or was he an obscure character in the community? Like not everybody, because like not everybody knows you. They know you live down the street, but they're not entwined with you. And I think that's what the disconnect was. He didn't seem like he was like everybody in the community really knew him. He seemed like an outsider,
Right.
and
But the
I
thing
don't know
is,
if that's how they wanted it to be. I don't know if that was
even with being the outsider, or only a few people knew him from when he was young or whatever, none of any of that seems to really contribute to whether or not he's a black guy or not. To me, it's like there's no such thing as being
I
black
mean, you're
enough to
looking at the
play
guy.
a character. There's just the
He
character
was
is a person of color. Here's an actor that is a person of color. Can you read the lines and be believable? Okay, we good. Let's go. I don't get the whole Luke Cage wasn't black enough, because it's like, what's he supposed to be walking around with an afro picking his head?
Okay, so I will say this. I'm not gonna go with the whole he wasn't black enough thing because the dude out looking at the dude, I can't unsee that he's black. Period.
Right?
Okay? Looking at the dude, I can't unsee that he's black. He black.
Right.
Mhm.
But I will say he didn't seem like a street guy.
And I
didn't
think that's
seem
what rubbed a lot of people the
And that's
wrong
fine.
way.
Cares?
Some people really get
That-
anal
well,
about that shit. They
Okay,
That's-
here's the
really
thing.
do.
Here's the
That's
thing.
how
What
it
is
is. That's how just like people get all up in Wolverine's height. It's
Mhm.
stupid, but it's something that people want, right?
I
But
understand that.
that's the difference though. So people have their hiccups about that kind of stuff. He wasn't a street guy, so he wasn't believable. If they got Common, they would have said, "Oh, Common
He's
is
light
too light.
skinned. He's too light skinned.
Common is too light." But guess what? Common would have seemed like a street guy. There's the difference.
Mhm.
That's just
Well,
what it is.
How about we just go ahead and shoot that small, loud minority of people that love to say stupid stuff like that and just
But
watch them show?
more and more by, we will be shooting more and more people.
Yeah, it seems stupidity
Because
stupidity
I
seems
was
to be
telling-
growing in
I was telling the
droves.
streets today. I said if I had the power, what Thanos did in
Snap.
the movie, yeah, I wouldn't be as fair as Thanos. I
That's what I'm
wouldn't have
saying.
been as fair.
Thanos was.
He was fair.
Hashtag Thanos has been right for a long time.
I wouldn't have been as fair as Thanos.
Oh, no.
that's what
I
I'm
don't say
saying.
again. Here's the thing. If I had the chance to do the snap, oh my God, there's so many.
So many things.
There's so many different ways I would just divide and cut into that
I'm
half.
not gonna
Yeah.
look. If I had the power to do the snap, I think it would only be me and my husband left on this planet. Really.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute
And
now.
then at that, then probably not. It'd probably just be me. So,
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
not saying
Wow.
it, like, look, I love my husband and everything, but we disagree on some stuff. So if I throw all the disagreements I have with people, it's just gonna be me. Well, hell,
Right.
it might not be. I disagree with myself sometimes. Look,
And that's
so
fine.
That's
You
why I
know,
would just
King
wanna
Takeem brings up a really good
Starship
point.
Enterprise.
King Takeem brings up a really good point. He says He was a street talking character out of the books, but then in Netflix he's the well spoken brother, and that's not comic accurate. Here's the reason I don't have a problem with him being well spoken, because I myself being well spoken, I like to be represented on screen once in a while.
Right.
Secondly,
Absolutely.
he's the only black lead out of all of the Netflix series. So if you got a jive talking, a street, quote unquote street guy,
that
I'm
is
going to be highly
Right,
upset
'cause
that that's all we get.
that plays right into the
Exactly.
stereotype.
Yeah.
Right
And
into the
That's why
stereotype.
I go back and I'm just like, when I watched it, like, all right, I'm just like, he seems like a misfit, but it's fine. It makes sense. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not only that,
So-
if you got somebody that has his powers,
Mm-hmm.
the more dangerous version is the guy that's well spoken and intelligent having those powers.
Mhm.
Because you can always see the street guy coming,
Mm-hmm.
but if you got the intelligent, well spoken, just straightforward guy, that's the one you need to be afraid of.
Right.
Look, I'm just gonna say this right now. They could have got Idris to do it, and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Idris
Yeah,
is already
yeah,
Heimdall.
yeah,
Too late.
Yeah, he was already
Ship has
Heimdall.
sailed.
So, let's pivot. Can we pivot?
Look,
Can we
he
pivot?
could have did both. Yes.
Yeah, let's pivot. So DBL Kink has actually dropped some nuggets from the from the Warner Brothers E3 presentation that kind of leaked. GQ, you got all the details, right? In the
I got
chat.
enough. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
you got
it's
enough.
Injustice
So-
3 potentially coming 2022.
Right. The list of characters that they said, John Constantine, Etrigan, trying to remember some other ones that they said.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr.
which
Manhattan
is
was the big one.
stupid over P.
Right.
That's
like,
stupid
come
OP,
on,
dog.
dude.
Don't
How you
put
gonna put
him in
Dr.
there.
Manhattan in
Right.
Injustice?
What is
dude?
his moveset
Like-
going to be? Oh, you can't move. Oh,
It-
you're dead already.
Right.
Oh, round 1 KO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, okay.
According to this thing, what I see right here now, this was on April 27th, so I don't know. Well, that was 2 days ago, but this person got up here. Mortal Kombat 11. The
Was
new
that I
pack
saw about
supposed
Neo?
to be Takeda, Reiko, Quan Chi, Fusion,
Fujin.
Ash Williams, Ash Williams / Bruce Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Injustice 3, they say on here John Constantine, Huntress, Penguin, Etrigan,
Etrigan.
Yeah.
Killer Croc, Zatanna, Doc Manhattan, Neo from the Matrix.
Now, see, that's what I thought I saw.
Yeah.
So Neo from the Matrix is supposed to be in Injustice.
Well, he is a Warner Brothers character.
No, I get that, but in Injustice.
They put the turtles in Injustice, bro.
Yeah, they did.
Okay,
They
yeah,
have
that's
a
true.
bunch of Mortal Kombat characters in there. Come on, they just want.
No, there's two
No,
different names.
Injustice doesn't really do that. Injustice had Scorpion show up in one of them. And
That was just the first
Raiden,
one.
I think.
yeah, that
in
was
another.
and Raiden showed up in the second one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
even though they're
there's-
made by the Mortal Kombat squad, basically they usually only
Do
limit it to like
one guest character.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
Like I
there
would
was
expect Sub-Zero.
No,
to show
there
up in
was
this
a
one.
game, Mortal Kombat 8.
Sub-Zero. No, in Injustice 2, there was Sub-Zero, Raiden, and Scorpion.
In
Because I
Injustice
played
2.
with all of them.
Ew.
Maybe.
Yes,
I
I
own it, but I
played
haven't
with all
played
of
it.
I haven't played it in a while.
Well,
so,
either way it
yeah.
goes, back to what I was saying, there was a Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which is also known as Mortal Kombat 8.
Blech.
Is
I remember that.
Yes.
Which is where all of this came
Blech.
from.
Blech.
But I mean, they're gonna use the characters to get people to buy them, or unless these are
No,
like
I
you don't
I
have.
have zero problem with that.
Right.
That's very. I have no problem with that. I'm very glad, and that's. It's gonna be really interesting to see how Constantine works. He'd probably just be another Zatanna
Now,
type character.
here's the deal. Here's the thing with the Injustice thing or the DC Mortal Kombat, right? So, what I hated about that game was that they let all the Mortal Kombat characters do fatalities, but they wouldn't let the DC characters do them. And then, first of all, how the hell you gonna do a fatality on Superman? Can you tell me?
Let's
Hey,
just
with
not
that
do
rage that
man.
you got powered up with that rage, you could do some damage to Superman.
Man, come on now.
Again, that's why Superman is the most boring character in comics.
Come on now. Anyway, the other thing was the Batman 2022 game, where they said it's not a continuation of the Arkham series. They're starting completely over. The Bat family will be controllable, and it's supposed to be based around the Court of Owls storyline. Now that's cool. That's gonna be cool.
So let's
But
see.
still, where's my Superman game? I mean, like I thought they were supposed to
Again,
announce that a while
most
ago.
boring
Stop! I
character.
don't want to hear
in
that.
comics.
He still needs a game.
He's hard to develop for.
No, I don't discount that.
so
but if
that's
anyone
why
could
you're not
do
gonna,
it,
that's why you're not gonna get a
but
Superman
if anyone
game.
could do it, Rocksteady could. I have
I
some
think they would be
faith in
wasting their
them.
time.
No, they wouldn't. Come on. No, they wouldn't.
What's the mechanic gonna be? Oh, you got shot, so apparently you ain't gonna lose no energy though. So you just stand, just walk. You know what? Matter of fact, when the heist starts, you just go ahead and just use your super speed and get there before they get away, and then the game is over. That's a Superman game.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
No.
That's the problem,
I'm,
dude.
no,
outside
I'm
of
sure,
outside
I'm sure
of
they'd find
doing
some way.
Doomsday or Mongol or like something like that, there's nothing in a Superman game that's of any fun because all it's gonna be is kryptonite haze to weaken him or cloud cover in the sun or red sun. Like other than that, he can't be hurt. He can't be. He's extremely boring for especially from a video game standpoint.
They just need to have better writers because if you think about it, One Punch Man could be extremely boring if they wrote him to be boring, but for whatever reason, he's not boring. And in his universe,
okay.
he's the strongest.
Here's the deal. With Saitama, most of the story doesn't even revolve around him.
Exactly.
It revolves around everybody else.
And then
so,
he shows up to save the day.
Right.
They should try writing a Superman comic like that.
Exactly.
Well,
if they did a Superman comic, if they did a Superman game and scoff if you want, they need to just do a goddamn like Smallville thing where he develops, like you develop him and your Superman is either as strong or as weak as you develop him. Like you go from teenage Superman all the way up through, and that's an interesting game.
So you're
because
talking
then
about an
there's
RPG.
more that you can build on.
So a Superman RPG.
That would be more interesting than most other superhero games. Like they're already the superhero. Like if you build Superman from the ground up, that would be interesting.
Okay. DBL Kink. First of all, they already did your game. He said with Superman, you need to have near impossible odds for him to be vulnerable in sidekicks, and you should be able to have to hold back. They already did that game. It was called Superman.
Returns.
No, it's called Superman 64. Near impossible odds, and everything else
goddamn
sucked.
rings.
Yeah, flying through rings constantly. That game. Oh my god.
Oh,
that
the
game was
multiplayer
terrible.
with them flying around them stupid ass
Yeah,
cars.
that whole game.
They need to remake that. Put that bitch on a
Hey
Switch.
man, you need to shut up.
Remake.
No, they don't.
The remake
You
Superman
shut up. No, they
64.
don't.
No,
Yeah. Bring it out on the Switch.
why were so many games in the 90s and like early 2000s so hard?
It's just because 3D was if you're talking about anything that's 3D wise, well, two things. First off, I can tell you, back in the day in the early 90s when things were coming out, they were hard because of a Blockbuster. And what you mean by Blockbuster is because when somebody rented a game, they didn't want you to beat it in the weekend and then return it. They want you to freaking have a challenge with it.
Yep,
so
and
those
keep
are hard.
renting it. Yep.
But then when games started to go to 3D phases, they were still new with the 3D stuff. So things just weren't done right. So it was kind of hard out of how they made it, not just because they were trying to make it hard.
Well, I
I'm
do
gonna
like.
tell you an unnecessarily hard game. The Lion King. Why
Yeah.
was that game
'Cause
so
they didn't-
hard?
they didn't want you to
Because
beat it.
they wanted you to keep
Yeah.
practicing. You
We
got to
talking-
get good.
We're talking about the Genesis version.
They didn't want
right?
you to beat it in a weekend.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes,
no.
that game was so hard. I gave
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I never
never-
played it.
Nah, you let the game beat you.
I
That's
think
what
after
let the game beat you.
Aladdin, I didn't play any more Disney.
A lot of games.
Those games were extremely well animated.
Oh
though.
yeah,
They were.
because they had the
They were
actual
very
Disney
well.
Oh, yeah.
animators and doing
yeah.
what you call
Those were
at least
so
the
well done.
Genesis one
Mhm.
for Aladdin.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
all the Sega versions of those were better than the Super Nintendo.
They were.
That's where they had them beat.
I
right
want to
there.
play Aladdin for Super Nintendo though, because there's supposedly
I
a debate
I played
about
it. Yeah, I played it. I played it. It looked great.
Yeah.
But it didn't look as good as the Genesis.
I
It,
don't
like
understand why they
the
didn't put that on
Genesis
that
one was
collection.
really smooth.
Yeah.
Wait, which
animation-wise.
collection?
The Lion King Aladdin collection that came out. They didn't put the Super Nintendo. I know Capcom made it. That's probably why.
Yeah.
But still, well,
Who knows?
I don't know how that works.
Oh wait, still no TMNT for the NES. Man, you young.
No. It was only one. It was only one level that was really that bad for TMNT and the NES.
Yeah,
Once you
there's-
get,
water
once you,
level.
huh?
That
Once you-
water level is not hard.
It's not that
it's
hard.
not hard now.
It wasn't
wasn't
hard
hard
then.
It wasn't.
Dude, your first time, you know you didn't beat it your first time through. I don't know
I'm
nobody
not
didn't
saying
beat
that I
it.
did, but I didn't say it was impossible.
It wasn't impossible. It's once you freaking got the pattern down, it was done like that.
All
But
games
until
were
you
patterns.
Exactly, but until you figured that part out,
I didn't really have much of an issue. Again, I'm a little bit older than y'all, so
Right,
maybe that's part of it. But
I
when
still
I
didn't
played,
have that much of a
when I
problem with
played
it.
that level and figured out like, okay, the bombs are here, and here,
Right.
you had your path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
still
you had
kind
to
of
do.
remember because when I played it, I got to the last one, but it blew up on me because, it's been 20 years since I played it. But I got to the last freaking bomb right before it
But
blew up.
here's the other thing. In all honesty, well, see, again, 5-year-olds. So y'all
y'all
follow
were
my
too
rules of
young.
5 right?
Yeah, y'all was too young.
I forgot what year that came out, but I was at least
Turtles
10.
game was-
Yeah, I think
At
I was
least
8.
10 or so.
No, I was 8. So
Yeah,
so I was
for
good.
me, it was like, okay, I just, and the thing is, what most people, here's what made that particular level hard for a lot of people. They were trying to swim it perfectly.
Uh-huh.
You can't
You
do
can't do that.
Yeah, you can technically, but like
89.
you had to know how to damage boost
You
through
were
that part.
14.
Yeah, I was 14 or so. So I mean, for me,
In
no,
89?
89.
No, he was
No.
13.
I'm sorry,
No,
13.
wait. 89 was when that game came
That's
out?
what
Yeah.
it says.
What?
Yeah, so I was
No
like,
way.
That's what it says.
no, John P. Ghostbusters on NES. Ghostbusters
June
on
89.
NES.
was
Ghostbusters
terrible.
on NES was garbage.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You
I was
needed
9.
was
I was
terrible.
9 years old when
you
that came out.
needed
Yeah.
a turbo controller to get past that last level
yeah,
of
no,
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters was
That
terrible,
was garbage.
dude.
Battletoads, I'll agree with you. That's
Yeah,
still
Battletoads was fucking
is.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
Battletoads was
is.
fucking hard.
Battletoads was difficult.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah.
But no, it's in all reality that Turtles thing is like you either had to know your pattern, know your path, and you had to not be scared to damage boost through some of those little parts because it was just like you trying to inch through that little seaweed part, man. You're gonna
Nah.
waste a lot of energy.
I like what Ramona Stark says. She was like, "What about a Superman game where you play through Justice League episodes, kind of like Xenoverse?" Now,
Okay.
Ramona Stark, aka Sharita Jackson.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like that idea, but the crux of a good Superman game, I feel, would be you have to put him in impossible situations, almost like you have to choose.
What's impossible for him?
Impossible for him would be choosing who lives, who dies. Like
Okay,
because
okay.
he can't possibly be in two places at once.
Have you
no, he
seen
cannot.
Superman?
No, but see, no, he can't. You can't. Even with him, with his great speed, can't be in
All
two
right, Lex
places at
Luthor.
once.
All right, Lex
I'm
Luthor.
just saying.
Even
Hackman
you
said it.
even
It
you
was-
with
it was
your
perfect.
great speed
Yes,
can't
you can't
get a
be-
missile going towards
Exactly.
California and a missile going to Hackensack, New Jersey
Exactly.
when you're sitting somewhere in I don't know New York. I'm like I think he can get to New Jersey. Stop that missile and then get his ass over to California and stop that missile too.
No,
we
I'm saying-
know he can do this.
I'm saying that's the type of situation you have to put him in.
Man, whatever.
You have to put him in something like that.
Then you have to nerf his power.
What'd you say?
She likes her
I like
RPG.
that version. You put them in the RPG. People will play that.
Of course, yeah.
John P. Kidnapping Superman's mom doesn't mean nothing.
Nah, hell no.
First off,
No, man, come
first
on.
off,
Better
let's
die.
be real. This mother freaker heard Lois pounding her fist on a damn
in the
on
same
a
freaking
right in the
movie.
middle of a battle with Doomsday.
Dude, in the same freaking
So
movie.
for him not to be able to, no, he trusted Batman, which is the weird. Again, that movie rushed so much stuff, but he trusted Batman to go get his mom for whatever weird reason, and for him to go after the ship in Luthor. I'm like,
First of
it's like,
all,
dude, you could have with
he
Gotham.
could've
With
found
first
her.
of all, with Gotham City and Metropolis being across the bridge from each other, apparently.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that.
I
Good
think
Lord.
Superman's got it covered
Right.
as far as like because remember in Superman Returns he was sitting up in the upper atmosphere listening to
Listening.
everything, and then he heard
Yes.
an alarm go off, and then the guy shot him in the eye with a gun.
I don't want to hear
after
it, man.
shooting at him with a
Please.
minigun.
And it's not like that warehouse was soundproof. It
I
could have
mean,
been.
it's
It
just-
could have been lead lined. Okay,
Again.
I'll gift you that.
Again,
but soundproof.
Here's the
No.
reason that character is. He's okay. He suffers from what most comic book characters suffer from, especially once created. Because again, he's one of the first superheroes ever. They kept adding so much to him. They were like, let's just give him knitting ability. Let's give him super ventriloquism. Let's give him everything he needs to fill any situation, and he'll get through the day. Because remember, originally he couldn't even fly.
Right. He could just jump.
Right.
And
so
it wasn't even that high.
now
It wasn't
it's
even that
like,
high.
let's give him everything.
Right.
And then, yes, they retconned a lot of that in the whatever age that was.
In the crisis.
Yeah, in the
After
crisis. But he still has a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Super speed, super hearing, heat vision. He's got a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get down to, and again, I was watching the Death Battle thing. Y'all send a check. Death Battle was doing that Superman versus Goku, and they did it twice. And it's just like they ran down the list of stuff. It's like, dude, That character is ridiculous. Why do I even care about any of his stories? Like you said, if you focus on the other people around him, cool. But if he's in quote unquote danger, he's not in danger.
He's not in danger.
It's like, dude, this
he's
is
never in
boring.
danger. Right. No, he's never in danger. So it's always got to be about the people around him, which is fine, and that's why the whole, him outing himself to the entire world,
we about to
they
lose
made it
Miao
more about,
Yin.
with everybody.
She's sleepy.
She's going. I think she's got other things to do.
Oh, she got other things to do. I get it.
She's not telling us the whole story.
Yeah, but but that's okay. But I mean, it's 11:00 anyway. We need to kind of wrap this up. Can you put the camera back on me, please?
You're just trying to. Okay.
I'm not trying to hog the spotlight.
Hogging the spotlight.
I'm just saying. It's like we kind of need to wrap up the show and kind of say our goodbyes. But this has been an absolutely. Ramona Stitch said, "Start off with Lex Luthor and the bigger villains like Darkseid." I mean, if you got to save Darkseid for the end at least.
Darkseid's got to be the final villain.
He's got to be because
that's pretty close to death,
right? Because it's like they don't get no harder than that. They don't get no harder.
And that's what pisses me off when they beat Darkseid too. Anytime Darkseid gets beat, it gets on my nerves because it's like this dude is basically evil Superman and a god, and y'all just be killing him off like he ain't nothing. You're still here.
Korea time. Well, gotta jump over to Korea time.
Oh, all right. Tell the outstanding soldier we all said hey, and we hope he's doing well.
Airman. He's an American airman.
That falls under my umbrella. It does.
Yeah.
I'm not disrespecting the fact that he is an airman because that's
just
not
saying.
easy.
Captain
There
America.
are soldiers, and then there are airmen.
And then there's
Okay.
Captain America, your husband.
And then there's me because I'm awesome.
Right.
All right, that's cool. I apologize.
Good night, all you happy
tell
people.
that awesome airman we said what's up.
We said what's up.
We love him like a brother, and we hope that he is safe and doing well.
Indeed.
Indeed. I will relay the message, and you all have a fabulous night.
All right. Good evening, Mian. So that's going to be the. We really need to get our soundboard up and going. Anyway, so that is the show, everybody. I think we had a fantastic time in the past couple hours entertaining you.
I apologize for the Facebook kerfuffle.
Yeah, we will definitely get that up and going. But entertaining like a lot of people on YouTube anyway. It's been a blast. We hope that those of you that enjoyed us on YouTube will come back on YouTube next week Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central for episode 211 of Culture Junkies Live. Did we know what we were going to talk about next week?
Cereal challenge, man.
Yes, the cereal challenge. We're gonna so basically to preview this. So we are going to bring in some of the wackiest cereals that we see on the store shelves right now, and we're just going to give them a try.
Wacky.
I've seen Cotton Candy Captain Crunch. That may be the one that I buy and bring.
I gotta see if I can still get that Sour Patch Kids one. Cause
Yeah.
I've been afraid.
I've been afraid of it too. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just gonna go to Chicago and get that one that we saw, the Crackles with that
I wonder
crazy,
if that one's
crazy
still
squirrel.
around.
Yeah. So anyway, next week we'll be back here with our boxes of cereal, our bowls, and special milk. This one over here doesn't drink.
I don't want to drink milk.
He doesn't
no
drink
more.
the breast milks of cow.
Yeah,
Drink cow
he
breast
doesn't wanna
milk.
do
Exactly.
yeah, he doesn't want to do that. So anyway, be back. We're gonna get our eat on next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Great episode of Culture Junkies Live. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. We got great videos. Like today came out the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 2 breakdown. Yesterday, it was great, and we got an unboxing video coming out on Friday. So lots of really great stuff for you guys to pay attention to. So for my good friends GQ, Great Data Kuji, and the recently departed Miao Yin, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one.
Peace.